What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode, another week of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about exclusive Xbox President Sarah Bond has set up a new team dedicated to game preservation, forward, and capability, or compatibility. Apple to open up an app store to retro game emulators. And then we're going to talk about a report came out from the game industry, and we're going to watch a video from What Culture Gaming because they have some breakdown of it. I tried to look up the information. I can't get to the website to give us the actual information. They got it. I think you have to be a business or whatnot. If we find it during the stream, we'll look it up ourselves. But we're going to watch a video of them talking about, it says reports prove that the gaming industry is broken. So that's what we have. And then we're also going to talk about the, this is the worst list I've ever seen in my entire life for the most iconic character. We're going to talk about the list that came out with only interviewing 4,000 people to say who's the best character or most iconic character that there is in video games. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We talk about a lot of other things as well. If you like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. Appreciate you very much. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. What's going on, Z? What's going on, Water Bear? What's going on, Eclipse? Robert Jones. Arctic Wolf, what's going on? First Loser. Dolphin. Jojo. Good morning, good morning. We got big news tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be watching the Star Wars Outlaws story trailer stuff. And I did it again, folks. I did it again if you missed it. Last week, multiple times, I said, I have a feeling, earlier last week, I said, I have a feeling this week or next week, which is today, I said, we will be getting something, some information. I said, just my gut feeling of Star Wars Outlaws. And voila, on, I think it was Thursday last week, they said Friday, or no, Friday, they announced that they were going to have something this week. So I did it again. I did it again. I don't know what it is. It's just that gut feeling I have. But then again, I had a feeling that they're going to release it in May. So we'll see. We'll see. How's everyone's weekend? My weekend was fantastic. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous day on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday we went to this like garden spring festival or whatever. They shut down our whole like small little town that we have. It was like 2 miles of just outside, thousands of people, dogs, vendors, food. It was awesome. And then on Sunday, it was another gorgeous day, and I was like, I do not want to sit inside. My son, all he wanted to do was play video games, and I said, I'm not playing video games in the morning. I was like, I'll play games in the afternoon. I said, I'm going to go play miniature golf. Do you want to come with me? He said, no, I want to hang out with Grandma. And I said, cool. I was like, you go hang out with Grandma. And I got to play a round of miniature golf in a beautiful, gorgeous day by myself, and it was fantastic. I didn't talk to anybody. It was complete and utter silence, minus the the birds and the people just chatting around me. But I was just by myself, and it was like Zen. It was like a Zen moment, right? Just me and some miniature golf. It was awesome. And then we got to watch a rocket launch yesterday. Last night at like 7:16, we watched another SpaceX rocket launch. So cool stuff. Good weekend. And I played some video games as well. I played a lot of Star Wars Battlefront 2, EA 2017 edition. We've been doing it. Notre Dame, yeah, 30 Damas. 30, no, not 30, 30 Tradamus. So those excited, nobody cares today. So who's excited for nobody cares today? What do you mean, Travis? Cold, windy, and snowing. Really? It was not a cloud in the sky. I got a little burnt, as you can tell. I didn't wear a hat. Quit showing off? What am I showing off about? That I had a day for my... Like, I had a 2-hour gap. I played miniature golf by myself for 2 hours. Come on, Lurker. Oh, you're talking about the eclipse. Well, first off, let's do a little public service announcement. if you're a person that's in the line of the eclipse, right? Make sure if you have the glasses, they actually are the correct glasses, because there's 2 days ago I read a report that Amazon was selling like not the real glasses. So there's going to be a lot of blind people or with sunspots in their eyes when they stare at this thing if they got glasses from Amazon. Amazon was giving their money back. But make sure you actually have the glasses, and don't be an idiot by just staring into the sun. Be like, I can't see. My wife, my wife discussed this weekend if we should move to Florida. You should first. There's lots of benefits to living in Florida. There's also a lot of, negative parts of moving in Florida as well, but the pros outweigh the cons. So there's negative parts moving anywhere. And don't look at the hurricane as one of the negative parts, because no matter where you live, there's like natural disasters. So that's a negative no matter where you are. I considered taking off today and traveling into the total eclipse zone. You know what's weird? Did you guys? I don't really watch the news a lot, right? But they're talking about this eclipse like it's something mad is gonna happen. And I'm like, what? Why would you freak people out like that? Is that a positive or negative living near me? I don't know. You haven't seen me yet, Z, so that could be a positive and a negative. I would become a Florida man, mowing my lawn during a hurricane. It's like a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage. You wouldn't understand that first until you're shuttered in your house for like 2 days, which is like a freaking. It feels like a forever. And as soon as the eye passes, technically the hurricane's over. That's true. Soon as the eye passes by your house, you're like, even though there's like another 200 miles worth of the storm, hurricane's over. It's an eclipse that symbolizes a planet moving in front of the sun. That's what we are in the dark age. But I think the next time this happens is like 2040. First of all, I don't have a pair of sunglasses with me, but if you want to look at the sun without looking at the sun, because you could just take your sunglasses and hold them out in front of you and look at it indirectly, but you can't look very long, right? Instead of putting glasses on your face and looking directly at the sun, I mean, you do what you want. I don't want to tell you how to go blind or not go blind. But that's what we do. That's what we do in the well, at least what we did in the film industry. When we wanted to know where the sun was, we instead of looking at the sun, we would take our sunglasses off and look at the sunglasses and look at where it was. We knew how much time we had, or if it was behind a cloud, or how much time we had. You know what I mean? Or it was about to go behind a cloud. But it is what it is. We got a couple videos popping up today at 1 o'clock. We have, or 12:45, we have a short going up for, I think it's the 30 frames per second Hellblade story. And then at 1 o'clock, we have the Hellblade story coming up that we did last week, obviously. If you watched the live show, you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go watch those videos out, or check those videos out. All right, let's go over... Let's talk about the first one with Sarah Bond. Okay, so this is from Windows Central. We do these stories each and every single day. We do a couple of major stories. We banter back and forth between chat. If you're here for the live chat, you'll get that back and forth after I read the story. If you watch this after the fact, you're just watching the breakout video of this particular story. So if you like the live stuff, please come on by, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to become a member, we do lots of different streams. We do live streams, we do uploads, we do gameplay, we do podcasts. I do lots of stuff on this channel. So if you're new here, please check it out. Check out some of our other videos as well. All right, so executive Xbox president Sarah Sarah Bond, has set up a new team dedicated to game preservation and forward compatibility. Okay, so the backwards compatibility program will continue to future Xbox hardware. Okay, so per emails received by Windows Central, confirmed that Microsoft is genuine Xbox president Sarah Bond recently briefed her team on various topics. In the emails, Sarah Bond reiterated that Microsoft plans to build a new Xbox hardware focus on delivering the biggest technical leap ever in the generation. Now, Sarah Bond also revealed that Microsoft has set up a dedicated team to future-proof our digital Xbox libraries across future hardware future and builds Xbox strong history in delivering backwards. Now, additionally, it was also revealed that Xbox has become Diablo 4's most prominent platform since the game's inclusion into Game Pass. Okay. So Sarah Bond was promoted to Xbox president a few short months ago and kickstarted something to reorganization of streamlined Microsoft's gaming organization to position itself for the future. Now, Activision Blizzard now acquired, Xbox has become something of a gaming powerhouse and a huge platform across Xbox console and cloud PC gaming, mobile titles, and subscription services. Even when you disagree with the millions of Xbox Game Pass subscribers, Microsoft counts various other subscription services gaming businesses within the fold, from Fallout First to Minecraft Realms to World of Warcraft. This is Xbox's business, doubtless of a huge challenge, but it's also similar to huge opportunities ahead of the firm. To the end, Sarah Bond recently sent out an email to rely on her troops while sharing some interesting bits of news and process. Microsoft has confirmed to us that the correspondent is genuine. It says, quote, "It's been nearly 6 months since we came together in an organization, and our collective achievements in the time frame of tremendous. Everyone should feel incredibly proud of what we've achieved here and excited to the opportunities ahead," Sarah said. It says, quote, "We're also moving full speed ahead of our next generation hardware focus and delivering the biggest technological leap ever in this generation." Now, Sarah also touched upon Microsoft's innovation of gaming AI, understood to be a big part of Microsoft's vision of the future of Xbox, and were recently told that the department of the XEM Tech led to AI innovator Carmen, how do you say that, Trouty? Would also known, butchered his name, by the way, love butchering people's names, was known within the organization for putting players and development first. It seems the influence will also continue driving Microsoft's thought process of tech, and we're innovating the game AI focus on delivering first players, developer first value, a discovery, engagement, and creator velocity. Future, in Sarah describes how Microsoft is continuing to work and integrated Activision Blizzard games and Battle.net into Xbox Game Pass, which is PC Game Pass. Now, I said that. I predicted that over a year ago. I said that they were going to take Battle.net and integrate it. I don't care if they make Game Pass or Microsoft into Battle.net, or they take Battle.net and they move it into, or they just integrate it. That's what they're doing, right? So Microsoft brought Diablo 4 to Xbox Game Pass a short while ago in collaboration with Microsoft's Store platform team and Windows aside. Now, Bond revealed that due to Diablo's hitting Game Pass, Xbox has now become the #1 platform for the game. Now, that makes sense, right? If people never played the game before and they didn't try it, even though if there's only 25 million people on Xbox, okay, lots of people didn't buy Diablo, even though 10 million people did, which tells you more people bought it on PlayStation, more people bought it on PC, lots of people bought it on Xbox, but a lot of people didn't. And they're like, you know what? Now that it's on Game Pass, we're going to try it out. This is what saved Battlefield 2042 as well. Okay, same with PlayStation Plus. Lots of people bought Battlefield 2042, but more people didn't, right? And now more people are playing it because it's on PlayStation Plus. It's on Game Pass. So it says Bond revealed that due to the Diablo hitting Game Pass, Xbox has now become the #1 platform in the game, and we integrated Activision Blizzard King's titles into our services. We launched Diablo 4 into Game Pass, and Xbox has quickly become the #1 platform for D4 players. Now, Bond reiterated some of the other games on the horizon for Xbox, and we integrated into Battle.net, all while launching COD Warzone Mobile and preparing for upcoming Hellblade 2, Avowed, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, I kind of want to go back to what she said here. She says, reiterated some other games on the horizon for Xbox, and we're integrating with Battle.net. Is that my prediction of World of Warcraft? Could it be? I don't know. If it is, chalk another one up for good old 30 here. Okay. Now, recently, the preservation of games has become an increasing concern as it shifts to digital licensing models and online services, has made it into too easy for games for permanently offline. We just watched a video last week with Ross. I forget the channel's name, but where they killed the crew, killing other games, and they're trying to preserve those games. Like, we as gamers want to preserve stuff, right? If you're not selling it anymore, we still want to play it. Put it out there. Don't close down games. Leave them out there or put them somewhere where someone else can take it over, so we can preserve the actual game. Okay, this is why emulators are important. This is why other things like this are important. But either people that are really big fans of video games take it upon themselves to open up a server like they did for Star Wars Galaxies, like they did for City of Heroes, and lots of other games out there as well. Okay, it says it's a massive problem in mobile gaming where publishers and companies like Apple and Google have no problem wiping games from existence. Even core platforms like Nintendo are known to shut down stores, offlining many games, and Microsoft is closing parts of Xbox 360 store this year for new purchases. However, hundreds of the most popular Xbox backwards compatibility games escape the Xbox 360 and continue to live on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S platforms, and it seems that now they even live on even further. As part of the emails to her team, Sarah Bond revealed that Microsoft has now set up a dedicated team to ensure the future proofing of the current Xbox game library against future hardware paradigm shifts, ensuring that our games remain accessible long into the future. Now, say what you want about Microsoft. If this is true, and this is what they're doing, where they're preserving games where you can go back and play the games that you own, future after future, right? So you can play Xbox One game or Xbox games on Xbox 360 and Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X. They're getting rid of this 360 just because they don't want to hold the 360 there anymore. But they're taking the top games that people want to play, right, and move them over. Now, that's better than nothing. They should have all games. If I own it, I should be able to play it no matter how old it is, as long as I have a box to play it, or as long as I can put it into the box I have and says, hey, you have this disc? Great, we can play it. But there's a problem there, because a lot of the consoles don't have disk drives anymore. So how am I going to prove that I own that disc? There needs to be some other way so you can continue playing that game. Okay? It says, we're building on our strong history of delivering backwards compatibility to our players and remains committed to bringing forward an amazing libraries of Xbox games to future generations of players to enjoy. It says, sources tell us that Microsoft may have more to share publicly in the area around the annual Xbox Showcase, which is expected to be on June 9th. In 2024. Now, Sarah Bond also paid tribute to the retiring Microsoft after 26 years, Kareem, earlier this week, and said goodbye to Kareem, an longtime leader of Xbox. He shares stories about the obstacles and overcome and the incredible things that the team has done. And Sarah continued, as is listening to those stories, I realized that the Team Xbox embodies those three qualities. As I recently outlined some of the pain points that Microsoft will have to overcome in the executive essay pinned last week, one of the concerns I pertain to was might happen in digital libraries in the universe is publishers seek growth and expanse of the console. Not only does this sound like, though, that Microsoft has no plans to throw the towel in when it comes to gaming hardware, but it sounds, though, that Microsoft is preparing to ensure that no matter what happens, we also should be able to maintain access to the Xbox games long term. I know what Microsoft is quite proud of the Windows backwards compatibility capabilities, and consider that you can run games from the 80s via Microsoft DOS without issues. I also know that Microsoft wants to ensure Xbox is known for similar dedication to preservation. Now, Sarah Bond also addresses the challenges in facing a wider game industry, as gaming hours are increasingly concentrated around a handful of so-called black hole titles like Fortnite, Roblox, and Call of Duty. There's also players increasingly reluctant to try anything new. We have another story about this going on later, right? Even though all these brand new games are coming out, like Dragon's Dogma, Helldivers, Pow World, all of these games, 60% of gamers right now are still playing the same games. Call of Duty, Fortnite, Apex Legends, anything. There's only one game that was single player that broke into this list, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, so stay tuned. Okay. It says the console market has also shrunk overall since the peak of 2008, leaving platform holders wondering where the next generation of growth will come from, and costs continue to increase. Now, at the time when the gaming industry growth is flattening, our continues, Sarah's noted, emphasizing that Microsoft's ability to diversify and pivot. Microsoft's knack for diversification has also helped leapfrog Apple to retake the world's most valuable company crown. Xbox has also become bigger than Windows itself, and the fact that it might seem impossible 10 years ago, that huge challenges remain, but it was also said similar to huge opportunities are pressing themselves too. So let me repeat that, okay? Xbox has become bigger than Windows itself. Xbox has now become bigger than Windows itself, but everyone says, well, no one's buying Xbox. No one's playing. Well, I hate to break it to you. There are. And it's much bigger than the Windows operating system that's on multiple people's billions of platforms. But go figure, right? I've said this from the very start, that Xbox is going to use Game Pass. They're going to use the cloud. They're going to use a whole bunch of things to move the industry forward. Okay, a lot of people don't want to listen to this. They think that for some strange reason that PlayStation is king. Yes, PlayStation is king, but PlayStation is king for the console market, which Xbox is no longer putting all their eggs in that basket, right? They're putting their eggs in a huge other points of the basket, right? They have multiple baskets now, right? They have the mobile basket, they have the online basket, they have the over-the-cloud basket, they have the streaming basket, they have the physical basket, they have the digital basket. And not to say that PlayStation's not doing the same thing. They are. They're all doing the same thing because that is where the industry is going. The difference between what Microsoft is doing and what PlayStation and Nintendo are doing is Microsoft is throwing all of their stuff out of the console, just console. They're moving it across all of the platforms. My analogy before is they are a supermarket. They are selling a whole bunch of different things, where PlayStation is a niche. It's their first-party titles and on their platform. Nintendo is the first-party platforms, but on their on their console. Okay, the difference between PlayStation and Nintendo is, well, Nintendo is baked in. You're born, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, you're all probably played Nintendo first, and then you moved into other systems. Now, obviously, there's dads and moms out there that own a PlayStation or own an Xbox, and their kids might play it. But for the most part, as a parent, you usually give your kid a Nintendo first because it's safe, right? It's safe. The games are simplistic. They're nice. And this is why they sell 30, 40, 50 million copies of each of the stuff, where PlayStation sells 5 to 7 to 10 over their lifetime. And same with Xbox with their first-party titles. They just don't sell as well as Nintendo. So that's the difference, right? Nintendo can be last to the party of doing what everyone else is doing, but at some point, they're going to have to do the exact same thing. But Xbox is trying to lead that market. They're trying to get whoever's first to the market gets what they want, right? Like Google, search engine. Other people can make search engines, but Google is there, right? You can make a console. It's going to be really hard to take away from Nintendo's massive domination of software sales. So Xbox is trying to get to that market. They're trying to leave this market to get to that market and try to lead that market. So when everyone else moves over, they're 1, 2, whatever, but they have a bigger chunk of that percentage, right? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about this preservation, right? We were just talking about this last week, right? Should you be able to keep your stuff? Xbox is like, hey, we got your back. We're going to put all our preserve all stuff on Xbox platform, which is a big thing because a lot of people don't play new games. A lot of people are playing older games, okay? Not buying new games, right? It's either old games or these top 10 games. That's it. Again, these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. If you like what we do here, please check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, chat. Let me see what you guys are saying. What's going on, Water? We're going to get the superpowers from the eclipse. Maybe I'll go blind. That's the superpower. More the anti-hero. Let's see. So they're still going to be making consoles. Yeah, no one said they were never going to stop making consoles. I even said that they're just not going to be the consoles in the form that they are now. Right? Because the solar eclipse destroys the flat Earth theory all day. Unless the sun's at the bottom of that part there, Sarge. You know, I'm sure they'll make their they'll start it. Baldur's Gate 3 starts Tuesday night. Let's go. Oh, good. That means we'll hear some stories this Thursday about you playing Baldur's Gate 3. That's a bonus for all of us. I'm assuming if I don't use my character from Baldur's Gate 2, I should pick Warriors class in Baldur's Gate 3, the magic user. Can you bring over? I don't think you can bring over. I never played the other Baldur's Gates, so I didn't know you could bring it over. Ron Slusher says, please preserve Ninja Blade on Xbox 360. PlayStation's Pure 1 imports Xbox's Target Superstore. That's actually not a bad... That's not a bad analogy. Z, that is not a bad analogy. You're absolutely right. Right? That's a good one. What Target in Pure 1? For me, Pure 1's useless. I can't help but think, but one Homelander line, and now it's just another useless fucking blind guy. I hope, look, I hope for a fact that not only does Xbox bring Battle.net and merge it into, right, but I've talked about this in the past. If they take Battle.net and they make it into Game Pass, they just merge it in. They go from 25, 32, whatever the hell the number is right now, boom, over 100 million. Over 100 million. The Battle.net users, if they moved them on over to Game Pass, they go from 30 million to 140 million, just like that. Okay? And people will look at it and go, well, they didn't really have that many Game Pass users. It doesn't matter if they're getting from Battle.net. It doesn't matter if they're getting from Game Pass. They're all getting paid the same amount of money, right? They're trying to consolidate stuff, and that's exactly what I think they're going to do, right? What's going on, Argus? Oh, real quick. Now that I saw your name, Argus, it clicked in my head. We're going to play Helldivers. I know that Helldivers, what's it called? The new War Bonds happen on Thursday, okay? But I would like to do a Helldivers night. I asked Kingard if he wanted to play. He said he could play Monday and Wednesday. I think we might play Wednesday night to play Helldivers. It'll be right before the new update happens. And if something happens throughout this week, because the automatons are, like, gone from the game right now. We beat them, okay? Well, I didn't beat them. But everyone else beat them. So there's no robots in the game right now. So they could do something this week before the new War Bond happens. But I think we're going to play on Wednesday, and I would like a group. So it's me and Kingard, and then we need 2 other people. So Wednesday night, I would like to play. And so if you want to play Helldivers, anybody that wants to jump on in, come on by. I'll play Wednesday night with you guys. What time? 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock when we play. I've been playing EDF. I can't wait for the 6th game. It's so fun. Can they replace Xbox PC app with Battle.net and have Xbox games run an Xbox PC app? Sucks. No. What they would do, Jax, is when they bring Battle.net, it would just be for PC Game Pass only for right now. Okay, I have a video about this, about World of Warcraft coming to console. But I said before they bring it to console, they would bring World of Warcraft to PC Game Pass. Okay, so if they take the Battle.net, they would just move it into the PC Game Pass part, not all of Xbox, right? So to play PC games, you have to pay the higher fee for the Ultimate Edition. Okay, so or you could just play for the Xbox PC Game Pass. Okay. So if they move over Battle.net, it wouldn't be for Xbox on Xbox. It would be for PC Game Pass. Which they're already doing. They're already integrating stuff like that. I'm level 26 on Helldivers. I'm not going to live PC Game Pass app. It's pretty nice. Oh, that reminds me. I kicked the very first person from my group yesterday. I hate Battle.net, but Game Pass client on PC is even worse. It doesn't really matter what you think, right? There's still there's like 142 million people on Battle.net, something like that. Let me look it up. Let me look. Right? Let's see here. Active users a month is... Yeah, okay. So Blizzard's flagship, World of Warcraft, has over 114 million total players. The player peak count on Blizzard Overwatch reached 10 million. Active users is 26 million. But people still pay for like the year or whatever it is. And I'm not saying it doesn't matter that you're not using it. What I'm saying is, like, I have a battle.net, but I don't pay for it, right? Like, I haven't used it. I don't play World of Warcraft. I don't play any kind of Blizzard games on battle.net. But what I'm saying is, the people that matter are the people that pay. And if you don't use battle.net, or you think it's a piece of shit, or you don't like the PCs even worse, well, fantastic. There's still tens of millions of other people that are using it that if they moved over, they would hit their goal, right? That's the saying. I don't mind people shooting me. I don't mind people being stupid. But if you also tolerate whiny people saying things like, I did it already, stupid MFers, quit torching the panel. I don't know what you're talking about, Travis. I know you're talking about Helldivers, but I don't know what you're talking about, what they're doing in there to piss you off. I started my Final Fantasy 14 sub back up last night. I downloaded the game, and addiction might come back. Oh, did you pay your... You're playing on PlayStation, though, right, Water? You're playing on PlayStation? PC, okay. So you don't have to pay the double fee. You're just paying the $13 or whatever it is for Final Fantasy 14. I'm waiting until the expansion gets closer, then I'll start paying for it. I probably won't ever pay for it. I don't even have time to play. I have 9 hours in it right now, and I haven't... No, I don't even have 9 hours. I'm level 9. I have like 4 hours in it right now. Apple opens up the App Store to retro games. I find it funny that all of this stuff is coming out around like the exact same time what's happening, right? Like someone makes a video about preservation stuff, and then all of a sudden all these companies come out and they're like, oh, we're doing preservation. We're doing all this stuff. I think it's funny. They were like silent for the entire time. Okay, Travis says, in Helldivers, I just play games to relax. I don't want to hear people whining. If you want to give advice or, hey, guys, take the base, sure, but no whining. But if you don't want to hear whining, why don't you just mute them? Why would you have to kick somebody? Just mute them. You know what you should do, Travis? You should go to the Melon Games and go to their toxicity.com and report them in Helldivers. That way you're protected and everyone else is protected. The toxicity. We know that what the percentage of whiny people is. Because I got asked by everyone else. Asked me to kick the guy. A group decision. I would just mute everybody. And just play the game. Like you literally just said. You just want to play the game. So I would just mute everybody and just play the game. They'll make their own choice. They'll be like, oh, this guy's not communicating. And they would just leave. They don't want to preserve games. They want to preserve the right to keep making money off the games later if they want. So it's damn annoying as a consumer at a standing point. There you go, Argus, right? Because they'll preserve the games for a small fee. Make the problem, sell the solution, right? Make the problem, sell the solution. The problem is people want to preserve their games. Well, we're giving you your games to preserve them, but it only works for people that have Game Pass, or it only works for people that have Gold, right? Or whatever the service is. Water says, I tell my group, if they're not getting all the objectives on the map, just leave now. The best command in League of Legends, mute all. All right, let's go to the next story. The next story this morning. All right, the next story is Apple opens up App Store to retro game emulators. If you guys like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday. We go over a couple of news stories, have conversations back and forth with live chat. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. What's going on, L? All right, so Apple opens up App Store to retro game emulators. Now, the game emulators have long been banned on the App Store, and they're also were one of the big reasons users in Europe might seek out third-party marketplace. So Apple is loosening up its App Store restrictions and opening up the marketplace to retro game emulators. In the update on Friday, Apple announced that the game emulators can come to the App Store globally to offer downloadable games. Now, Apple says that those games must comply with the acceptable laws, and the indication that it will also ban apps that also provide pirated titles. Now, the move should allow retro console emulators already on Android, at least those that are left, to bring the apps to the iPhone game emulator have long been banned from iOS, leaving iPhone owners in search of workarounds or jailbreaking other workarounds. They also, one of the key reasons so far that iPhone owners in the Europe Union might check out third-party app stores, and now that they're allowing the region, Apple's change today could head that off. Now, alongside the new rules of the emulator, Apple's also updated its rules around the super apps such as WeChat. We now also says that the mini games and mini apps within the apps must use the HTML5, clarifying that it can't be native apps to the end games. Now, the change seems to come in response to the antitrust law filed by the United States, which also accuses Apple for attempting to stomp out both cloud gaming, streaming apps, and also super apps. App recently started letting cloud streaming services like Xbox Cloud Gaming and GeForce Now onto the App Store. Isn't that funny how companies won't do what they're supposed to do, like what they should do? They don't do it until they're pressured in doing it, and they're like, oh, no, yeah, we're cool, guys. This is like that Steve Buscemi, hey, fellow gamers, right? This is what Apple's doing. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, we're listening. Oh, you guys want emulators? Okay, we got emulators. Because they see that other people are starting to encroach on them. And they're like, well, wait a minute. Maybe we should do the same thing. Okay. So outside the U.S., Apple seems to be responding to the pressure from the European Commission in another rule update today. The company said that it will allow music streaming apps in the European Union to include in-app links that point users towards outside purchases and mention pricing information. It also would allow developers to invite users to provide their email address to express purpose for sending them a link to the developer's website to purchase digital music content and services. Okay. Now, mind you, this is in the European Union. Here in the United States, they have that lockdown nice and tight where we can't do this kind of stuff, right? They're sort of loosening the stuff, but you guys in Europe, you actually fight for this stuff. Over here in the United States, we're like, yeah, okay, it's cool. Right, so after the commission called Apple's anti-steering rules illegal, Spotify attempted to update its app with links to the website to purchase subscriptions, but it didn't receive approval from Apple for weeks. Spotify still isn't happy with Apple's most recent change. However, as Apple is still planning to charge a commission for purchases made through the outside links, despite the EU Commission says that Apple must allow music streaming apps to communicate freely with users. Following the law, it's not optional, but Apple continues to defy that decision. Spotify spokesperson Jean Moraine tells The Verge that effective April 6th, the commission can start non-compliance, preceding the imposed daily fines. It's time to deceive action to once for all give consumers real choice. Now, I don't know if Spotify is actually for us or if they're trying to use it so they can make, well, obviously I know what it is. They're using us to be like, well, it's for the customers. But obviously, Spotify doesn't want to pay the extra fees, right? Just like Epic didn't want to pay the extra fees, and that's what they're doing. But I do find it funny that Apple all of a sudden is like, oh, you want to play old games? You want to play emulator games, right? There's a running theme here, by the way, guys, if you haven't noticed, right? So we have Xbox that's saying that we're preserving games and you can play old games, and then we have Apple saying, oh, you want to play emulators, which are older games, right? So there's two stories back to back for older games. This is smart for Apple if they should do this, right? They feel that they would lose money from this, but they would actually make more money, because if you push people away and you say, well, you can't play emulator games, and people go outside, gamers or people just in general will try to find the path of least resistance, okay? And even if there's more resistance, if you're really hell-bent on saying, you know what, you can't tell me where I want to play or what I want to play, just like I can't tell anybody how to use their money, okay? You use your money how you want to use your money. I'm just giving you info on, don't buy this game because this game might be broke when it comes out, okay? They're stopping you from buying or playing emulators because they have no way of making money off of those things, right? So now they've opened it up and said, well, now you're allowed to, but it has to go through these channels, okay? If these companies weren't so hell-bent on making all the money will come to them if they just are more loose with their rules, okay? If you want to buy this or you want to play that, instead of charging literally $10, you got to do this, they could literally have millions and billions of people come in and play their games and make half the amount of money, but more people would play and they would get more recognition from it, be going, oh, they weren't a bunch of assholes and they stopped me from playing the emulator. Instead, they're like, no. We need the 30% from these companies, and we need 100% from you doing this, because no one's going to go out. People will find a way. Like water, it will find the lowest point and try to get through, because that's what we want. You can't stop us from doing what we do. We'll pirate your games. We'll emulate your games. We'll do whatever it takes to get that point. This is just what it is. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the game emulators, is just going to, are you more excited about this? Did you even know this was happening? Where emulators now more on the iPhones will be able to play, so you can play some of your older games on these brand new phones that have better graphics, better stuff, better game machines is what they are. Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what we do here, please check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right. Did you see all the idiots on Reddit saying Outlaws is doomed because of the poster? What's wrong with the poster? Robert Jones says subscription service is a shitty preservation model. Well, it's the only one you're going to get in the online world of preservation, right? Unless you have a physical box that actually plays those discs. Right? Make the problem. All these games are going away. We're bringing them back to you. You can play all your old games as long as you have a subscription model. Let's see. Water says, if you don't want to be touching KOTOR, knowing those idiots, Raven. Is it true that PlayStation doesn't want anything to do with the KOTOR remake now? I saw something about it. I didn't put it in the stories thing, but I remember seeing it. It's all about the mighty dollar bill. If the money can be made off the gamers now, then they will find a way to keep us in the environment. I'm suspicious of Apple. I'm suspicious of all these companies, Jones. Hence why I don't lay in bed with any of them. What's going on, Roadkill? So they claim it's AI-generated garbage. I mean, sure. But I don't understand. Even if it is, how is... I don't understand the connection points. You're saying AI-generated poster means game's garbage. I don't know. I don't see the connection points. Star Wars in 2024? Nah, I'm good. Disney agenda destroyed. Well, there's a difference between the games, Thomas, and the shows. Now, if we're talking about the shows, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. If we're talking about the video games, the actual video games that we've had from Star Wars, at least up to this point, with Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, Battlefront 1 and 2 from 2015, 2017. What else we got? We got Rogue Squadron, or Squadron, not Rogue Squadron. Squadron, and I forget, there was like one or two other Star Wars games. There was no, like, agenda, right? Star Wars video games are actually been really good. Best stories of Star Wars in the last 10 years since Disney took over. Dolphin says, yeah, Jones, PC had to be, and I had to be on the same Wi-Fi. It's annoying. For, what are you guys talking about there? I missed what you and Jones are talking about. The game's greater than shows. Yeah, Water. Yeah. Were you doing some weird cast to the phone just to play emulator on Apple? I have just a player on the PC for all of that. I haven't played any emulators, and I think the last emulator we played was on the browser. Is the last thing we played. Not much difference between the games and the shows. Oh, that's not true at all. That's not true at all, Sarge. You haven't played any of the Fallen Order or the Jedi Survivor. Those are excellent games. I don't feel like playing another female character. I burned down on female leads. Sure, well, that seems like a very, subjective look, and which is fine, right? But I can't say anything about Outlaws. I don't know if they have an agenda with that one, right? All I know is I have no problem with lead characters being a male or female. I have no problem. I have a problem when they push agendas on you. And to say that the Star Wars games are pushing agendas on you, they haven't been. The show is, I'll also say the Mando has been the best one. The rest of the show is either boring or try so hard to super deep, but at the end it's just boring. Yeah, well, the problem is the writers don't know what the hell they're doing for the shows. They don't. All they do is they attach the points from like point A to point B. They're like, hey, this character from the old Star Wars. Here he is. They use that to dangle in front of you to be like, oh, how did that happen? Right? That's what all they do. The only shitty one recently was Classic Battlefield. Yeah, but that's Aspire. That has nothing to do with the game itself, like the Battlefront game. That's literally the developers fucking up a game that was already fine. Was already fine. All they had to do was like re-release it, and they went, nope, let's make it broke and buggy. Again, that has nothing to do though with an agenda. That's just broke because it's broke. I don't think they had a female lead in a game, Thomas. They did. In Battlefront 2, they had what's her name? Vesio. For the single player. Yep. All the other Star Wars games, hell. The Star Wars MMO, The Old Republic. You could be a guy or a girl. You could be a lead whoever you want. You can create your own character. You can play a bounty hunter, a Jedi, whatever you want. That's a fantastic game. Aiden, thank you. What's going on, Chris? I really do hope that there could be no or at least minimum agenda messages in Star Wars Outlaws, and hoping that the gameplay and story is good. I think a lot of people just they'll look at the lead character. What's her name? Kay Vess, I think is her name, right? And they'll be like, I'm out. Which is fine. Right? Right? I don't look at lead character and go, oh, woman, woke. That's not what I do. People don't even know what the word woke means anymore. And you can have a female or male and be woke, right? But when you see a female character, you're like, that's a sign of, which 100% could be. But just to judge a book by its cover, or a game by its cover, or a game by its poster is just ridiculous, right? Now, no one's saying to anybody that you have to buy it on day one, okay? Now, I'm a Star Wars fan. All the Star Wars games leading up to this particular game have been good. So, I like Massive. Massive makes Division 1 and Division 2. I love their games, okay? They're making this Star Wars Outlaws game. It looks good for what we've seen. We're going to watch a thing tomorrow for the story beats, okay? And then it's going to lead up to what the game is as it gets closer and closer to release, which I think they'll make a release date tomorrow, okay? But in no way, shape, or form did I look at the stuff that we know about Outlaws already and go, that's woke garbage. Dolphin says, I probably got 100 hours in Battlefront and never played the story. The story is actually pretty good. It's very predictable. I'll say it that way, just not to ruin it for you. Okay, but it's very predictable. I think the most people are idiots. She's just a female. Han Solo. Doesn't matter if you call... I wouldn't even say that she's a female Solo. I mean, you could say that because she's a smuggler, but is Han Solo the only smuggler in the galaxy? You know what I mean? Battlefront 2 campaign was fun and underrated. Yeah, I thought the campaign was great. Like I said, Ron, it's a little predictable. I was a little disappointed because they sold it one way, and then by the end you're like, oh, come on. I would have liked if they just kept it that one way, right? It wouldn't have subverted my expectations. Predictable and bad aren't the same thing. Also, at my point, those same people will call the smuggler Han Solo. Sure. But if you saw Han Solo, what would you compare him to? You wouldn't compare him to anything because he was the first. But now if someone else comes into the thing, right? So Mando's Boba Fett, right? Mando's Boba Fett. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mandalorians are Mandalorians, but Mando would be Boba Fett because Boba Fett was the first one we saw. Right? And that would Darth Maul be Darth Vader because Darth Vader was there first? You see what I'm saying? Boba Fett would be broke if there was only Han Solo. Exactly right, Quintar. Right? There's a shit ton of smuggle. It's a career path. It's like doctor, lawyer, smuggler. Do you know what I mean? And what she's wearing in the video is like she looks like she's out from... This is what I like so far about the Outlaws video game that we've seen. It looks like the game takes place... Now, obviously, it doesn't take place because it's Star Wars. But the game looks like they created it in the 70s. And that's why her style of clothes looks like it did back when they made Star Wars. And I think that's a huge thing that people don't really realize. But that's why it looks so authentic. Because they made her hairdo and what she looks like and the clothes style that she's wearing, it makes it look like it literally part of Empire Strikes Back. Looks like it's part of New Hope. Because that's when those things were filmed. Late 70s, early 80s. And that's what she looks like. I want a game where I play the Imperial Agent, like the one in the Old Republic. Was the best story. That would be interesting. Be more political, wouldn't it? It'd be more dialogue heavy than anything else, wouldn't it? You kind of do that. You kind of do that in Battlefront's campaign. Chris says, I see the style, the authenticity of the Star Wars back in the late 70s with regards to what any sci-fi genre used to look like. Right. It looks like it just fills it right in. Even the UI on the game looks like, at least the stuff that we watched over a year ago. You know what, Travis? I would take a game like you just described with the officer, but like Police Quest, right? A modern day Police Quest, but you're an imperial what's it called? Officer. Game already exists. It's called Mass Effect. Yeah, but Mass Effect would be better if it was in the Star Wars universe, wouldn't it? Galactic Police. Yeah, that would be cool, right? Here's what we need. Bad Batch game created by the same team with Helldivers 2. Dude, I would take that. I would take a Bad Batch game, because I like the characters in the Bad Batch. Those characters in the Bad Batch show would be fantastic if they put them in a game like a Division, like a... That's what we thought. That's what I thought Outlaws was when Massive was working on a game. I was like, oh, are we getting a multiplayer Star Wars Bad Batch game like Division? I was like, that would be pretty cool. You know, why not a detective crime investigation drama story, but set in the Star Wars franchise? If done correctly, I would watch that. I would love that. I'm on the boat, Chris, where obviously the last decade since Disney owned Star Wars, the movies and TV shows have not been very good. There's a few that you could pick out. A few. Like the episode 7, it's okay. Andor, the series, people say it's fantastic. Mando season 1 and 2, but everything else has been pretty shit, right? Except for like the cartoons type stuff. Clone Wars is fantastic. I would love if they take a Star Wars and made like a Star Wars franchise crime investigation. To me, because I like Star Wars, you could take, I don't care what you take, you can make Friends and put it Star Wars theme, and I'll be like, man, it's a better show, right? You could take any type of show, any type of game, put a Star Wars IP on that, and to me, that would be a better game, because I'm interested. If I wasn't interested in Friends, I would be interested in Friends if it was Star Wars themed. If I wasn't interested in this particular game style, I would because it's Star Wars themed. Travis says, that's not true, 30. Andor was awesome. It cured my insomnia. Seinfeld Star Wars. Yeah. Think about that. You just have a group of people that are in the Imperial Army, and they just go to work every day, and they're just talking back and forth like Seinfeld, but it takes place in Star Wars. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. I'm dead serious. Because I'm interested in Star Wars. How about Cheers, right? How about Cheers, but in the Tatooine cantina, right? Tell me that's not going to be a good fucking show, right? It's just the same people, and there's people, celebrities come into the bar, and they're like, you know, Jack Black comes in as a, like he did in The Officer, comes in, right? He's the king of something, whatever, you know. It's just the cantina. I would watch it. You think I'm joking? I'm not. I would definitely watch that because I love Star Wars. Now, it's been 10 years later, and I'm a little iffy on Disney doing anything like that, right? Sometimes you got to go where a cantina where everyone knows your name. Yeah, imagine you're in the cantina. I forget the guy's name now off the top of my head, but the guy that lost his arm, right? He's sitting at the bar, and he keeps telling the same story. They're like, all right, shut up. We understand that you got your arm chopped off from a Jedi. Guy comes in and is like, I'm looking for a Jedi. I knew a Jedi once. Family ties, but Star Wars. Could you imagine? Only reason Ahsoka was bearable was because of Timothy freaking Zahn. I mean, I liked Ahsoka only because I liked Rebels and I liked Clone Wars. So I gave it a chance because I liked it more going in than the other shows that I didn't care about. I liked Mando because I understood where they were going with it. I knew they were going to go to Bo-Katan. I knew it. 1 second. My dog's barking at someone. Yeah, I like Rosario Dawson. I thought she did good as Ahsoka. As a live-action Ahsoka, I was fine with it, right? What I wasn't all right with was the way they did the story. And when you see Ezra, like, there was such a... At the end of Rebels, and then what they did for the show, I thought they completely ruined what Ezra was and how... They just fucked up the story. Can we get a Spaceballs game? I would take one. Why not, Ron? I would take a style of like the humor of not the new South Park, but like the other South Park games. You know what I'm talking about? But like a Spaceballs type of thing. I would take that. I just don't like the way that Star. And again, this is their business, right? They can do what they want, right? Look what they're doing with Silver Surfer, right? They could have told the story with Silver Surfer in a separate thing, but they're trying to throw everything into Fantastic Four, and they're making Fantastic Four like Sony did for Spider-Man, or what Marvel or Disney did with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. They're trying to throw as too many characters into one thing, except of just telling the story of Fantastic Four, right? Establish Fantastic Four first. You know? That's what they're doing with Star Wars. Star Wars, instead of just telling the story and then expanding off of that, they're like, now let's throw everyone in as possible. Right? I'm not super deep into Star Wars story, and I haven't watched the cartoons and read all the books. I just take each series as its own thing, and I enjoy them as they are. Sure, Ford. But then at the same time, I don't think you can get mad at someone like myself that knows all the stuff, and I don't like the show. And I'm not saying you do, but I'm using you as an example of other people out in the world that get mad at the fans and say, well, this is bullshit because it's not how it does, right? But people are like, well, I don't care. Like, my dad just watches the stuff and he's entertained. But the fans of the stuff look at this and go, this is shit because that's not how it is. Well, it's not to compare them to, though, Ford. It's literally continuing the story from those shows. That's the problem. It's not a comparison. I'm not comparing the live action shows to what the cartoons are. I'm talking about timeline, story, and being, solid on what the lore is. Oh, yeah. There was droids back then. There was the Ewok. There was a live action show. That's how I enjoy it because I'm a filthy casual. That's fine being a casual. What I'm saying is people that are super casual are like, well, I liked it. And they're getting mad at the people that know the story. Well, how is that? Right? I'm mad because you're ruining my canon. Like, you ever read a book? And book one's awesome, right? You read the whole book and you're like, oh man, book one's awesome. Then book two comes out and you're like, oh, it was pretty good. Book three comes out, you're like, what the fuck is this? That is nothing like the other two books, right? It's like someone else wrote the book or they just made book 3 because they had a 3-book deal and they just had to get the book out and they didn't put their effort into that because they forgot what they wrote in book 1 because it's been 10 years since they wrote the first book, right? Like, you look at that and go, why? Right? Like a cash grab. That's what they do with Star Wars. They're using the IP as a cash grab. They don't care what the story is. They're just making a game, they're making a video, a show, a movie just like this, and they're sprinkling in the other stuff to get the fans from the other stuff to come over to watch it because they know that this alone will not be suffice. Give me an Ewok game. There's an Ewok mode in Battlefront 2. Ford says, gotcha. That's what I was getting at. I don't know if Ahsoka is feeling the continuation of the cartoon. I just watched it and enjoyed it. Filthy Casual, as I started above by Robert. Yeah. I think you've watched 2005 cartoon version of Cartoon Network Star Wars Clone Wars beginning. Yeah. Yes. I loved all that stuff, right? I loved that stuff, and then I loved the Clone Wars they created after that. That's some of the best Star Wars. The animated Clone Wars series is some of the best Star Wars out there. Yeah, Travis, nostalgia baiting, right? 789, we're bringing back Han, Lua. I'm okay. We're bringing back Han, Luke, and Leia. We're like, oh my God, we haven't seen them in 30 years. Yeah. Just murdered him. And Luke is a grumpy old man, and you showed him the last 7 seconds of the film. So stupid. We knew we'd get you back in the seats to watch it. We're going to put Luke Skywalker in the last 7 seconds. And then the next film, we're going to make him a grumpy old man that we shit all over and make him drink titty blue milk. You're like, you sons of bitches. You sons of bitches. I've watched them once. Once, Travis. And we'll never watch them again. I don't think that's going to happen, Dolphin. They should have taken George's outlines of the scripts. The only reason he's not a whining in the books is he's screwing a hot redhead. I mean, that will do it, right? That would do it. All right, we got a video here that we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch this. This is from What Culture? What Culture? Is that what it's called? It's What Culture Gaming. Okay, they got a lot of viewers, more than I do. So we're gonna watch their thing. Okay. So this is talking about that the industry, the reports proves that the gaming industry is broken. Okay, so we're going to watch this and react to it. If you like what we do here, please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do live streams, uploads, gameplay, podcasts, lots of different stuff. Well, the reason we're watching these guys, Travis, is because they're going over data that I can't get because they're part of the industry. So let's watch this. Up there.
New video games.
Is everyone still playing Grand Theft Auto 5, Scott Tilford?
Yeah. 11 years later, playing a PlayStation 3 game. Can't get enough of it. Xbox 360 is old over new again. This is a report comes from Newzoo, an analyst firm who did a report based on all platforms and looking at monthly active users.
Yeah, so I looked up Newzoo and I couldn't get the information that these guys had. Okay. So I don't know if you have to pay for this or whatever. So I saw this and I saw someone else's podcast and they talk about it as well, which we might go watch them talk about it as well because they show a little bit more or tell a little bit more information.
For all video games across 2023, and they realized that the average game being played across PlayStation and Xbox was 7 years old. 7.2 on Xbox, 7.4 on PlayStation. The average age of games being played on PC is almost a decade, and Nintendo's average is 3.9 years.
So look at that. Okay. So people that are playing games right now on the consoles that are out right now, Xbox average years on the market, people are playing 7.2-year-old games on the systems they're on right now. PlayStation's at 7.4 years. PC's at 9.6 years. People on PC are playing 10-year-old games right now on average more than buying new games. Okay? And then Switch is 3.9. Now, think about that. And this is why Nintendo is the winner. Okay? This is why Nintendo is the winner, because people are buying the new games that come out for their systems. Okay?
It is interesting here that Nintendo were the only platform to have multiple console exclusives propping up the top 10.
Okay, multiple games, okay, exclusives, okay, in the top 10. Okay? Look at this. Okay? If you look at Xbox's top 5 games, right? None of them are new. I mean, technically Call of Duty is new, but it's an old franchise type of thing, right? So you got Fortnite. We'll skip over Call of Duty a little bit. Grand Theft Auto 5, Minecraft, Roblox, okay? Tom Clancy's, 6 years old? Rocket League's like 6 years old. But look what they're at number 8. Look at that at number 8. Starfield, a single-player game, okay? Every other game here, Minecraft is single player, but it's also multiplayer, right? Starfield is single player, okay? And Hogwarts is not even on this list, okay? But on Switch, you got Fortnite, then you have Zelda, then you have Super Mario, then you have Mario Kart, then you have Minecraft, then you have Pokemon, right? Then you have Fall Guys, Animal Crossing. So Nintendo, on their own platform, has Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, Pokemon, Mario Kart, Super Mario Brothers, and Legends of Zelda. They have 6 of the 10 top games in what people are playing on their console. But if we look at, I'm gonna rewind this a little bit. If we look at the
played on PC is almost a decade,
hold on 1 second.
And Nintendo's average is 3.9 years. It is interesting.
Okay, if we look at this list, I know it's hard for you guys to see. PC, top games playing on PC right now in 2023 was Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, Counter-Strike, Sims 4, Call of Duty, Legends of Zelda, Leagues of Legends, Valorant, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Rocket League. There is not one new game on there in the top 10 played games on PC. Okay? In PlayStation, we have Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto 5, Call of Duty, EA, that's a new game, 24, Roblox, Rocket League, Minecraft, Tom Clancy's, Rainbow Six, Apex Legends, and Fall Guys. So out of the games, you have basically EA Sports, FC 24. That's it. Everything else is a game that's been out and they've been supporting over the years. Okay? Xbox, you got Fortnite, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, Minecraft, Roblox, Tom Clancy, Rocket League, Starfield, Apex Legends, and FIFA. First party title, Starfield. What's the first party title over on PlayStation? This is why people make jokes of no one's playing first party titles. Now I get it. Single player games, the most popular games on PlayStation are third party titles. Live service, by the way. Okay. Same with Xbox. Third party games. Well, Minecraft is up there. That's a first party type of game. Okay. And Starfield. Everything else is third party. And then you look at the Switch, you got 6 first-party titles on the Switch, okay? And then you got 4 that are not, right? So you look at this and go, oh, I kind of see what they're talking about. So if you're on PC right now, the average gamer is playing a 9-year-old game.
Interesting here that Nintendo were the only platform to have multiple console exclusives propping up the top 10. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is at number 2, Mario Wonders at 3, and then you've got Mario Kart, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers, all in the top 10, which are only available on Switch. Another notable thing is that Starfield was the only single-player game across Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Think about that. The game that got hated about by everybody. Starfield is the only game out of PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, the single-player game. Everything else has multiplayer somewhat inside there.
And to quote Pure Xbox's write-up of the report, players spend over 60% of their...
In general, across all platforms, players spent over 60% of their time playing games that were 6 years or older in 2023, which is an increase from 57% from 2022 and 45% for 2021. And here we are, okay? Here we are where I talk about all the time. Our games come out broke, buggy, and unfinished. Yes, people are buying them, okay? People are buying them. But the problem is, okay, we are the 1% of the 1%ers. When you hear a game come out and it sells 5 million copies, 10 million copies, and everyone's like, oh my God, it's so successful. That's the minority buying that, not the majority. The majority of people are playing games that are 9 years old, 7 years old, right?
Their time playing games that were 6 years or older in 2023, which was an increase from 57% in 2022 and 45% in 2021. The last thing is that only 23% of these games were new releases, with the charts dominated by Call of Duty, Roblox, Minecraft, GTA 5, and Fortnite, which I feel like...
Okay, hold on a second. Let me back up here. There's a spot underneath. It says new releases accounted for 23% of the overall playtime. New releases counted for 23%. See? You see what I'm saying? So the God of War, the Spider-Man, right? The Baldur's Gates, all of these games that came out last year or prior, okay, weren't the majority of gamers. The majority of gamers are buying older games, cheaper games, still playing games they've had for multiple years, right? 23% of the overall playtime also slightly increased compared to 19% in 2022, with the most attention going towards franchises with annual releases such as Call of Duty, NBA 2K, and the rest new games added up to 8% of all playtime across the platforms. Here's a bit more about the 8% figure, right? Can you imagine?
In 2021. The last thing is that only 23% of these games were new releases, with the charts dominated by Call of Duty.
Here's a look at the top 10 games by average for Xbox according to the data, and there you go. You see Starfield, the only single-player game that's there.
Duty, Roblox, Minecraft, GTA 5, and Fortnite, which I feel like people will already have noticed if you ever go on the search bar on the PlayStation. Yeah. It's the same games over and over again. There's only so many slots in that top.
So when you come out with a brand new game, when you're coming out with a brand new game, you're not just competing with the other new games that are coming out. You're competing with the top 10 games that have been out for a decade or more, right? Or 7 to 10 a decade old, right? You're going up against Roblox. You're going up against Minecraft. You're going up against Fortnite. Fortnite came out in 2016, 2017, right? Call of Duty's new every year, but at the same time, it's been around for 20 years, okay? The last 5 years, though, they just keep kind of updating it, okay? It's the Madden football first-person shooters, okay? You're playing against or I shouldn't say you're playing. You're going up against all these games that are live service games, and you just keep updating it over time. The only game that made it into last year's stat was Starfield. And that wasn't even a full year, right? Think about that. Hogwarts Legacy sold 23 million copies. Starfield didn't sell that many, but yet people are playing more Starfield than Hogwarts Legacy. Imagine that.
That's it, man. Like I said, I was joking about GTA 5 earlier, but we got the results for the most bought game in the UK over the last year, and GTA 5 was still in the top 10. That thing will never exit, and you can reliably count Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed and Mario Kart and FIFA and a bunch of others as franchises that constantly are in that.
Here, this weekend, I played Star Wars Battlefront 2. I played Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is 6 years old. Star Wars Battlefront is 7 years old. Okay? I played a 7-year-old game and a 6-year-old game. Okay? Now, obviously, Star Wars is a single-player game with multiplayer that they don't need to support it anymore. Done. Right? And then Sea of Thieves is a live service game. Why do you think more and more game companies are going towards this Fortnite mentality or Call of Duty mentality? They're all looking for that golden goose. They're all looking for that one game that they can create. Hence why Warner Brothers came out with Suicide Squad, because Suicide Squad, they're trying to be like Fortnite. Obviously, it didn't work out. But the percentages, if you make a single-player game and you put a single-player game out, people are going to buy your single-player game finish a single-player game, and they're going to put it down, which you should do because that's what single-player games do. But these companies are looking for these ongoing games, if it's single-player, live service, whatever, so they can keep you coming back, keep updating it if it's for skins, for content, for whatever. And not all of these games are going to make it. But it's a better choice for the company to put 3 to 5 years into a game that potentially, if it kicks off, it could last for a decade. Where if I go for a single-player game, it's a one-and-done type of thing.
At top 10 and very rarely drop out. And if they do, they're straight back in. This, to me, I don't care what people play, but to me, it's worrying because this is exactly why I think publishers are pivoting towards live services.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
And fewer games, but like banking on them in a much bigger way because, yeah, you can make a game that makes a lot of money, but the absolute golden goose, the ceiling they're trying to hit is a game like a Fortnite, a game like a Roblox that you are playing that is
Forever.
always in the conversation and is...
Think about it. Minecraft's been out for over 10 years, right? Been over 10 years. Meanwhile, you have games like Destiny. Destiny wasn't on that list, okay? Destiny wasn't on that list, okay? But Destiny's been around for a decade. Warframe, over a decade. It's crazy. League of Legends, Rainbow Six, 6 years, right? All of these games have been out for years, and brand new game comes out, they're like, well, we got to compete against those guys.
Being in the top 10 most played games 7 years after it released. That to them is exactly what they want, and they will sacrifice everything at the altar of trying to achieve that.
The thing is, like, it's so brazen. Like, if you bring up the games that are actually in the top 10, like I mentioned, you've got your Robloxes, your Fortnites. GTA 5's been in there since day one. It was replaced by the next-gen version that came out in 2014, and then obviously the next-gen.
Path of Exile's been around for 7 years? Maybe even longer.
Version that happened again. GTA 5's just ticked over, and Minecraft and Rainbow Six Siege has quite a tail on it as well, which is interesting.
I was surprised by that because I knew it was huge and had a huge player base, but I had wondered if that had dwindled over the past couple of years.
Well, the problem, Water, when you buy a brand new game for $70 and you have to wait 18 months to 24 months for it to fix, why am I going to play that when I can go back to a game I know that is actually working?
But seems not. Seems like that thing's still going strong.
My overall thing is that, like, that whole thing of like, the industry's pivoting into trying to have their own Fortnite. We've seen that everywhere. You see some Suicide
There you go. So it's 11 years old.
Squad, Kill the Justice League is their attempt at making a
or
Fortnite.
10 years old.
It even has the battle bus style missions in it, in terms of protecting the thing or having a battle bus iconography in there. To me, there are only so many slots in this top 10, because in terms of the amount of money they would want to make from those games. And you see it from the likes of Square Enix, where they're perpetually unhappy with anything they put out. But still, the viability of an average gamer picking up a new game, I feel like that's gone down. Like, I have primary research from family members of mine who are regular gamers who aren't picking up games on the regular anymore. I don't know if you've experienced that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, here, so far, look what I've done so far, right? This year, I bought Palworld for $35. Played it. We played it for like 60 hours. I put the game down. Okay. Servers were a little bad when it first came out. Helldivers paid $35, right? And we played it. We played it for 60, 70 hours, I think, as well. Servers had problems when they first came out. Okay. But I paid full price for that game, $35 for that game, right? Then we played for Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, $70, okay? It had problems, right? Yet I'm going back to a game, Classic Collection. I didn't pay for it, but if I did pay for it, it would have been $30, $35, okay? But it has buggy promises that, we're fixing it down the road, where I could have just went back and played Battlefront 2 7 years later, and it's a much better experience than the games that come out today. So they're forcing me to not only I buy the new games because I'm hyped about the new game, but then I'm sad because the game's broke and buggy for 13, 18, 24 months, and I have to go buy or go play an older game knowing that, all right, well, I know I'm not going to waste my time here because these games are actually fixed or working or they're good.
But I feel like in general, people play less games, and I wonder whether that's a price point thing, like games are worth more than ever. Sorry, cost more than ever.
Yeah, I don't care if it's early access, though, pal. Or Quintar. Palworld is early access. That's fine. That's yet another example, though, what video games do nowadays. They charge you money for a game that's incomplete, broke, buggy, Doesn't matter if it's early access, beta, gold. Doesn't matter. They're all in the same category. A game comes out, unfinished, broke, buggy, and they want you to pay the money for it up front.
And then are often more broken than ever as well.
Yeah, man.
But also, like, that whole idea of the live service future or the live service present.
Yeah, did you hear this? They took Once Human, that's in early access, and they're doing a second beta or whatever. Okay, they've added what you do in Power World. There's Power World type of characters inside the game now that you can get, and they have different abilities and different things to do. Imagine that. Once Human's like, oh, well, that's popular. Let's put that in our game.
Is that more palatable now? Is that just the way the industry is now? And that attempt to sort of try and make single-player stuff. People are asking for single-player stuff, but then the market only reflects a multiplayer, overall, or only reflects multiplayer games. Like the fact that Starfield is the only single-player game in there, Baldur's Gate 3 didn't permeate.
Yes.
Like, that's kind of fascinating.
Absolutely, and I think it's interesting what you...
Oh, and by the way, since they're bringing up Starfield, it hit me in the head here, right? Starfield, even if it's broke, even if it's buggy, even if it's incomplete, right? Or incomplete, not incomplete, incomplete, okay? It's on Game Pass, right? So I'm not dishing that money out front, $100, $70, whatever it is. I could be like, I put 169 hours, 170 hours into this game, right? A little bit more. No, we're at 192. We're at 192. I forget. We're just under 200, right? 192 hours into this game, and I paid $0. $0 because I have Game Pass, and it's on Game Pass, right? So as a consumer, what would you rather have? Pay $70 for an incomplete, broken, buggy game? Or would you rather pay $12 for an incomplete, broken, buggy game? Because there's other games on that platform that I can play.
You say about why aren't people buying new games? Is it the price point? Is it something else? Is it the state that the game's often releasing, like Cyberpunk or something like that? And I think I said this on a podcast a few weeks ago, but I always think about myself because I'm a narcissistic a-hole.
As well you should.
But I think about like my own relationship with buying games, and it's like I have a job where we talk about games all the time, so I've got a big reason to buy them apart from them just being a...
That's the problem, though, right? I'm in the same boat as him. Because I'm a content creator, our job is to talk about the newest games. But there's like an iffy part there, because I don't want to buy a game that's broke, buggy, and incomplete. Now, I want to tell you if it's broke, buggy, and incomplete. But I'm also advertising that the game is played. They're like, oh yeah, we get people hyped up for a game that comes out, and then it comes out, and you're like, like a wet towel hitting the ground.
Thing I'm passionate about. I'm fortunately, touch wood.
And then we say, oh, well, at least I had fun. But that's not the point. The point is you can have fun with anything. But wouldn't you have more fun if it was a complete game?
At this moment in time, financially stable enough to be able to pay the £70 price point for a game I really want. And yet, something like Dead Space comes out that I absolutely, have this attachment to, was looking forward to, and I go, I don't know if I can afford £70 this time.
Yeah.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor drops, and I'm scouring reviews for the first time in ages because I'm thinking, even though I'll cover it on for work or whatever, £70 a lot of money, and if it's going to be a little bit broken, like, am I going to regret that decision? So if, as someone who does this for a living and is in the industry or whatever, is questioning it to that level, like, surely a more casual player is looking at these games going, ain't no way I'm...
Exactly, Quintar. Yeah. Hold my wet towel.
I'm going to play Fortnite because that is free and all my mates play it and it's accessible. It's got cross-platform play. Hell yeah, I'm just going to jump into that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like in a wider sense, I'm fascinated by what brings people to buy the video games. Like, I feel like
And think about that, Water. That's on Game Pass and you didn't have to pay for it. And I saved you, not that I saved you money, but I saved you your time.
last big thing we were all talking about, if you go before Helldivers 2, which felt like a big moment this year, of like a lot of people were either curious about Helldivers 2, a lot of people picked up Helldivers 2, and where a lot of people talking about like the heyday of Xbox 360, Xbox Live multiplayer, loved all that stuff. To me, the last time that everyone turned heads was Elden Ring. And that was like mid-2022. Like, it's been a long time. As packed as 2020.
Cyberpunk 2077 is kind of awesome. Sure. 3 years later.
3 was. I didn't feel like there was a huge thing that you had everybody talking about, the water cooler video games. And I don't know whether that echelon of games is dead, because it's that whole wider conversation about monoculture, and it was so much easier to track specific releases, and we were all the actual fan base was smaller. Like you had console manufacturers and studios not targeting the mainstream as much, etc.
Yeah.
Like I'm fascinated by all those conversations because to me, at least, the monoculture conversation is at the heart of why everything feels so disparate.
Yeah,
and it's like something. Do you think about how omnipresent the MCU was? A lot of people, or the vast majority of people, either had an opinion on the MCU or they were watching the movies. And since then, in cinema, there's not really been anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's only in the cinema side. But like, I do think that there is an impact from that. And you're seeing it in the games industry. Like, I guess all the top 10s, the Fortnites, the Robloxes, they are almost their own monocultures, but they're kind of siphoned off. Like,
yes.
they're not necessarily permeating outside of their own islands.
Disparate, I think, is...
Yeah, but that's what games have to do. Look, if I was a company, right, take video games out of this. If I was a company, I could only make one product, and that one product was very successful. If I could make billions of dollars off one item, why would I make two? Why would I make three? If I make two or three, that's more cost, that's more product, that's more things I have to keep, that's more employees I have to hire, right? If I could make one game, and that game can make me billions of dollars, why would I make that game any better if what I have right there works just fine, right? If I make a minimal viable product and that minimal viable product makes me billions of dollars, why would I make that game better? I would just incrementally do stuff like what Fortnite does, like what Apex Legends does, right? What all of these things do. Why? If I would wait until someone else makes a game to compete with me and then change it.
The right word there, because you can get these things that are so popular, but they are popular because of
artistic pride. Let me tell you something, Travis. If an artist made all these independent pieces of art, and I'm talking about just an artist on the street painting a picture, right? All of a sudden, I make a painting. It's my own original thing, and someone never buys it. I ask for $1,000 for it, and they're like, "Yeah, no, I don't like your art." But then I take someone else's art, and I'm like, "Oh, let me do this," and I make a popular character of my art, and everyone's like, "I'll give you $100 for that," and I sell 1,000 of them. Guess what? Your artistic pride goes out the window because your artistic pride is now, well, these things are paying my bills, and I'll pump these fuckers out as many times as I can because that's what's making me money.
Of the communities they attach and attract, and that doesn't really spread to the mainstream in a way where everyone is talking about it. Like, you're not going to your friends like, you need to play this. You'll recommend it to the people you know who will like it.
Why work 6 months to make DLC when I could put 6 months of skins out in that amount of time that charge $10, right? 1/3 of what DLC I could charge.
You might recommend it to your pal who plays games and get them in, and you'll talk about it online on the Reddits and the Discords, and you'll have that community there, which is great. But like you said, it's so hard to break through and release a game or release a movie or release a television show that everyone feels like they need to drop everything and watch. Like, there have been amazing games, there have been amazing movies, there have been amazing television shows over the last few years, but I think the feeling is because the way we receive that content, and with there being such a volume of content, it's always a pick and choose situation now where it's like, hell yeah, I'm going to watch House of the Dragon at some point, but I'm not watching it week to week like I was with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that was another one.
I don't feel that need to do it. Same with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a game I'm really looking forward to play, but I know I can have that conversation with you at any time, and I can jump on the Reddit.
That's right, Altern. Right? Altern says, oh, you mean like GTA 5? Like, why make DLC when you can have it update for online version, make it expensive and grindy that you can buy the micros? Exactly right. Why am I going to take 6 months to a year to go make a DLC that people are going to buy, play, and put down, when I can make a small little section of a little grindy little game mode, or make a club that you have to upgrade and do different missions, right? The same stuff over and over again, and I can make a crap ton more money. You guys gave me that one video. I forget the YouTuber's name. He was a developer at Blizzard, talking about how he worked on StarCraft, and they worked for years to make StarCraft 2. And when World of Warcraft's mount came out, one mount made more money than the entire game did So why would I make an entire game if I can make a microtransaction that makes 10 times more than that?
At any time, and
Pirate
people
software,
still be
thank you.
talking about it. It doesn't feel like it dominated the moment in the same way that the original remake even did 4 years ago.
No, that Thrones is a fascinating one. If you compare the vibes around the original run of Game of Thrones, obviously the final season, lol, it was a tire fire, but the general conversation around the rollout of that show versus the general conversation to the rollout of House of the Dragon, like that's kind of what I'm getting at. And I feel like you see that in regards to the biggest games that people talk about, or the idea of being excited about a game every couple of months. Most people, and whether it's a financial reason or the marketing reasons aren't showcasing games enough, or something's not big enough, aren't buying into a steady cadence of newer video games. I do think it's interesting. I was looking at obviously the PS5 side of things. They don't have a single exclusive or first-party game in the top 10, whereas even on the Xbox side, for as much as they get dragged for not having the game, Starfield was in the top 10.
Yeah, that's very interesting, isn't it? Right? Not one exclusive that PlayStation has was on that top 10 list, but yet Starfield would get shit on as people playing that game. So what's the thought process there, right? Here's the thing. Games need to sell a lot of games at front. Just like movies, when they come out opening weekend, they make a majority of their money week 1. Okay? Video games make the majority of their money week 1, week 2, month 1. But after the fact, if it's a fun game, popular game, and they keep supporting it, DLC, non-DLC, they just keep it going. 6 months, 1 year, 3 years later, they can still sell game copies. Hence what No Man's Sky is doing. No Man's Sky doesn't charge anything. $0 for all these DLCs. They just charge what the game is. Okay? It's not even full price anymore. Okay? It came out at $60 back in the day. I think now it's $40 if I'm not mistaken. Okay? That's the full price for correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like $40, right? It might be $50. I don't think it's $60. But it's $40, and they're still selling 6-7 years later a $40 game.
Yeah.
And Starfield was a major reason to invest in Xbox. I get that the player pool is smaller.
Yeah.
And then if you're still sticking with Xbox, you will pick up Starfield. And it's on Game Pass, so like you might as well.
I guess that's it, right? I think there are a few interesting differences between Sony, Nintendo and Microsoft here. I think a lot of it comes down to the audience and the games that kind of...
But the point I'll turn, the point of what I'm trying to make is Starfield, regardless of how long it takes, right? If no one's playing it, are you saying that one person's playing it for 1 million hours and he's covering it and that's why it's on the top, right? Multiple people have to be playing it for a longer time and they're not making any money off of it. There's no microtransactions in Starfield right now. There's 0 microtransactions in Starfield right now. It's a game, single-player game that you play and put down when you're done. But yet it's the only single-player game out of all the other games that were on all the other platforms to make it on the top 10 list.
Known for, because I was also shocked that there were no first-party Sony games in there, but I also kind of concede that none of their big first-party releases are on the scale of Starfield in terms of play time. Like, people are encouraged, I think, to play Starfield for hundreds of hours.
That's true. I was thinking, like,
well, why would they be encouraged to play it if it's a piece of shit game? Do you see the mentality here? Everyone thought that Starfield was a piece of shit game, but yet, again, it's the only game that was single player that made the list.
Like Spider-Man 2, but it's not, it's not the same size game.
Even Spider-Man 2, like, you can 100% complete that game, get the platinum in, 40 hours, 35 hours? Yeah. Like, they're shorter games.
Well, remember, Sarge, they haven't added the store yet. They are going to be adding microtransactions in it, but as of right now, there's no microtransactions.
Still chunky games, but I can see why people will play those games once, have a great time, and then not keep coming back to them like they would a Fortnite or even a Starfield. A lot of people hate Starfield, fair enough, but the people who like that game are probably still exploring, probably still finding things, probably going through with different builds, kind of like how...
Yeah, but the game's not fun, right? No one's playing it. Why would anyone play Starfield if it wasn't fun? Why would they continue playing it? You see what I'm saying? Now, obviously, I liked it. I thought it was a good game, but a lot of people gave it shit because they said it's not a good game. But yet, again, the only single-player game to make the list.
Oh, you play a Skyrim or a Fallout. It's like got that chunkier RPG mentality. And when you talk about Nintendo, I think that's fascinating because to me, I wonder, and I threw this question out to you before we started recording, how much their list is dominated by first-party games. I wonder how much is that down to the Nintendo Switch not being known as a place for third-party titles, or at least...
Here's the greatest part, right? The 1% gamers out there that like to console war for Xbox or PlayStation, here's Nintendo. 30 frames in all, okay? 30 frames in all. Coming along with all of their 30 frame rate per game on the more inferior console with less graphical fidelity, with less frame rate, okay? And yet it outsells every single piece of software out there for any other game. 6 games in the top 10, okay? Water says, hey, Switch is 60 frames at 480p.
The best versions of
I was going to say the bigger ones,
titles,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, obviously, stuff like Minecraft is on there, but I can see why a Call of Duty, because it's literally not available on the platform, wouldn't be on there, or even Fortnite, which again is available on Nintendo Switch, but
or GTA.
Or GTA, but you wouldn't want to necessarily play that version if you already own a PlayStation or an Xbox, even like a PlayStation 4. You know, you might want to play that version of Fortnite or something.
That's a fascinating thing. So, yeah, let's talk about like console exclusive stuff and why you buy a console, because in decades gone by, it would have been for the first party stuff, or at least the intent on the first party console manufacturer's side would be to show off the system under the assumption that it then gets into the top 10 of that year. If something like Spider-Man isn't breaking the top 10, that's a huge blow to the idea of either single
7 million copies. 7 million copies. And remember, this goes across all console games, right? Amy Henning said that less than 50%, all the way up to only 10%, actually complete a game, right? That means 90% of people are not completing a game they buy, okay? Up to 50%, right? Or as little as 50%, right? 50% to 90% of people don't complete a game of single player. And this is why lots of single-player games, this is why a lot of exclusive games are not on this list.
Player games, non-multiplayer games, etc. And I wonder about that, like the whole thing about reading the tea leaves of the industry and wondering what everyone talks a big game about single-player stuff, including us, and I wish there was more of it.
Right. But us talking about single-player games that we like, that will sell that 5 million, 10 million, 7 million, you know, whatever it is, we are the minority of the gaming population. The minority. Sure, they can make a lot of money off of that, but these free-to-play games, these live service games, when they work, and I don't mean work like fundamentally work. I'm talking about business-wise work, where they sell the microtransactions, sell the DLC, keep people coming back every single week, every single month, every single season. That's what's making the money.
But you look at the top 10s across the board, and they're all the live services, the multiplayers, etc. You do get them on Switch, but like you said, that's an interesting thing. If there were more GTA 5s or bigger third-party stuff available on Switch, would that just dominate the top 10? And would you lose the Marios and Zeldas, or are they stronger? Like, I think they're stronger.
Yeah.
Because it's Nintendo.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's interesting.
I think it's almost a kind of a false equivalency, right? Because I know publishers are going to look at this data and go, we need to make everything Fortnite. We need to make everything Roblox.
Yeah.
We need to get people in and have them playing every single day for 10 years, 7 years, get them in that ecosystem. But I think that does overshadow just how successful single-player games have been. Yeah, they might not have been. They might not have made it into these top 10s, but like, you know, Baldur's Gate 3 sold over 10 million copies.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 was Sony's fastest-selling first-party title.
Once they make a game, though, and sell that game, and you play that game, single-player games, they get put down, right? Not to say they're not successful, but again, only 50% up to 90% of the people don't finish those single-player games. They make the money. Companies make the money, but it's really hard to continue making that money going forward.
Jedi Fallen Order surpassed expectations a few years ago. Survivor sold well. You know, we've seen these big... Dragon's Dogma 2 just sold 2.5 billion copies for a niche, obtuse, open-world RPG tied to a franchise that a lot of people didn't know about. The point I'm trying to make is we're seeing all of these successes, but again, does that matter to the publishers, or are they chasing that golden goose of...
They're always chasing that golden goose. Epic wanted to make Fortnite into this tower defense game. They put 8 years into that game. It completely bombed. Save the World completely bombed. Okay? What saved the world for Epic was Battle Royale Fortnite, and now they've invested heavily into that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously selling 10 million copies is good, but what if we sold 10 million copies and people were still playing the game 7 years later and buying all our microtransactions? What about that, Josh?
That's that's the specific nexus of the whole thing. Like some studios will see 10 million players and be like, oh my god, 10 million players, that's awesome. What are we doing next? Another publisher will look at 10 million for a single player game and go, oh my god, that could have been 10 million microtransactions. Why did we not do that? And then let's plug more content, let's monetize this and keep going. Tekken 8. And that's because you get people like Sven Vinke over the head of Larian saying that we don't believe in microtransactions. I think it was the same thing on the CD Projekt Red side as well. For Witcher and that kind of stuff. And it's just interesting, like that idea of like, what is the market?
Roic says, I've only played one single player game several times, and that's Witcher 3. I'm trying to think of a game that I played single player multiple times. One would be Mass Effect 2. Transformers, Fall of Cybertron, but multiple times, maybe 3 times, 4 times. I'm trying to think of another single player game. Ultimate Alliance 1, 2, and 3, I've played about 4 or 5 times each with those types of games. Baseball games, football games, I play through like multiple seasons. That considered a single player, right? I played Skyrim twice, Fallout twice, but I don't go back and play them multiple times. But I go back and play, an online service game quite a bit. I've been playing Division for the last 5 years. I played Destiny for 6 years. I played, you know what I mean? Like those games you keep on playing.
Respond to. Like, I mean, something like Helldivers 2 is a massive success. And I'll be interested to see if Newzoo does another report this time next year where the Helldivers 2 was in the top 10. And that's different in terms of monthly active users to overall revenue, but in terms of microtransactions. But that whole thing of what is the market responding to, there's always an underlying assumption that the market responds to quality, single player, storytelling, big things that made impacts in previous generations.
Yeah.
I have a question though, Crowded. Did you play those games because, and I'm not trying to make fun of you in any way, shape, or form, because of financial reasons when you were younger, or was that older in life, right? Did you have money or did you have no money? Because a lot of us, I used to play the sports games over and over and over and over and over because that was the cheapest form of entertainment for me because I would buy it once and I could play it 1,000 times. Do you know what I mean? So because of Mario, I don't even know why none of the Nintendo games came out. I must have beaten Mario 100 times, Mo, right, over the years, right? But that's because I didn't have any money, so I just kept playing the same game over and over again.
Whereas now, because the offset is 7 years, you've still got people clinging on to stuff or repeatedly playing stuff that was successful a whole generation or 2 generations ago.
There's so many interesting things here, right? And I want to throw a question over to you because we're talking about like publishers looking at this data, but I also think like, and I'm not the first person to say this. In fact, I saw a few people talking about it in regards to Palworld's play drop off.
97% drop.
That's it, right? But I don't think, for me personally,
what's the 97%?
First person to say this. In fact, I saw a few people talking about it in regards to Palworld's play drop off.
97% drop.
That's it, right? But I don't think, for me personally,
yeah, that's 97%. But not only did it's early access, they got that money up front, right? We read the article about the company of Palworld that they made so much money, it's too much money for them for their size company. Okay, so they made their money. They're successful. They technically don't even have to sell any more copies for years. And they would be okay to start investing that money into other games they want to make or put it back into Palworld and get people to come back.
That discourse isn't really helpful
No.
in the way we talk about games now, and we analyze their success not in terms of sales or even player satisfaction, but in terms of retention. And are you still playing that game? For me, that's very alien. Maybe it's because I'm used to older games, but like a lot of people, I saw that drop off to Palworld, and I was like, well,
you're always going to get that drop off, though. You're always going to get... Remember, Palworld is technically a single-player game. It's a single-player game with multiplayer aspect to it. You can invite your friends on a server, okay? But you're always going to have that drop-off. Doesn't matter what game it is.
Well, yeah, it's a game that came out months ago. Yeah. People have moved on to something else. Some games are like kind of finite, even if they have, open-ended structures or are survival games. People were talking about other single-player games that released last year. I think Spider-Man was one as well, talking about the player drop-offs. Why is no one still playing this game, or why a few people...
Yeah, where are those reports of the Spider-Man fans? What's the player base on Spider-Man, right? If you talk about games like, well, Starfield lost all its players, where's the reports for Spider-Man's player drop-off, right? And again, I'm saying this because they're single-player games. Once you beat them, you put them down.
Still playing this game, and it's like, because we played it, we finished it, and I will play Spider-Man 2 at some point, but it's not a game that's even designed for me to keep coming back to, so I do think that's a part of the, not necessarily problem, but the sort of fixation on retention and hour length and that sort of side of the industry.
I feel like I'm freaking out because I'm just thinking that applies so much to like all IP right now.
Yeah,
like how do we bloat this IP and do another 5 more of these? How do we keep it going? How do we stretch this out and over?
Ooh, I know. Make a game, sell a game, make DLC, sell that DLC.
Monetize it, and that general approach is the thing that has just driven so many of these the want for this stuff straight into the ground. I just that whole thing. The thing is, like, for a healthy industry, and obviously the model of success is going to be based in maybe nostalgia or a bygone generation. It depends on the individual. Do you think the current gaming industry is healthy? Does it feel healthy? Does it feel like it's viable for really good gameplay ideas and creativity?
I think the current industry is healthy for a few, but not for all, right? For as unhealthy it is for many companies going bankrupt or losing or closing studios or cutting players, yet Baldur's Gate 3 is successful. Why? Because they made a game and sold that game and they're successful. Palworld made a game, potentially, because it's still in early access, but they're successful, okay? So there are companies out there that have made a game, sold that game, and they're successful in this current industry. And yet other companies are not successful because they didn't make a game. Suicide Squad.
And a lot of that comes down to the idea of, can experiences be finite? Like the generation we're comparing it to, or past generations, is that you would play through a set of games a year, and they were that year's games.
Yeah.
And I do think there is a negative to that, because there was a whole thing about people don't go back through their games back in the day, and you'll get so much more out of something replaying it. But that's different to monetizing the grind, and that's different to bloating things and stretching it out and doing another installment in something just for the sake of stretching out an IP.
Absolutely.
And I want more smaller games that you actually finish. Like, it's so rare that you hear, I go, oh, that game, even now, Dragon's Dogma 2 averages like 20, 30 hours.
Yeah,
that's still 20, 30 hours.
Unless you played it for 70, like me. But yeah, it certainly does.
But still, like, that idea.
I'm okay with games around 20 to 30 hours. I don't want 70 to 100, 200-hour games, right? Like, I played Starfield for 200 hours almost, but I'm okay with the 30-hour mark, man.
Of like, whenever we find out that there's like a really good sort of 8 to 10 hour game, it's like, oh, thank God, I'll actually finish it. Like, great. I mean, I'll try and hit credits on a main thread of anything, but like, if it's something that, like I said, is designed to be completely consumed in a weekend, and you have a lovely weekend with something, I don't know. To me, that's a healthier industry. But I get the publisher expectation is, if they're always aiming for the Apex Legends and the Fortnites, it's never going to be enough.
Yeah, man.
No story game ever would be.
And I understand even player expectations. If they're
even though I gave Suicide Squad some shit, I'm okay with the story. I'm disappointed that they didn't continue that story in the season 1, right? I think the games like Marvel's Avengers and Suicide Squad, that story, 10, 15-hour story campaign is fine. But as a live service game, you got to keep that story going.
Expected to pay more money now for these games, $70 for a game, and it is quote unquote only 15 hours. I get their frustration. That might be the one game they can afford to buy all year at that price point, and you want it to be longer. You know what I mean? You don't want to pay that much money for.
Well, Dave, if the main story is like that, then no. But if a game is like 100 hours, 40 plus, but the main story is like 25, 30 hours, I'm cool with that. I'll just do the main campaign and not do as many side quests.
8 hours of copy and pasted mission design. Suicide Squad again. So I do get that side of it as well as the publisher side of it. But I also look at the sort of lack of new releases in this top 10 list and new franchises, and we're looking at stuff like Fortnite, which was established 7 years ago, Call of Duty, which has been around forever. And I wonder how much of it is a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy, because the games that are maxing out these lists are established franchises. But at the same time, we've got publishers who are openly saying, we're not taking a risk on new IP, so that's...
A 2-weekend game would be cool. 2 weekends. How many hours are you putting in for the 2 weekends, Quintar? You putting like 4-5 hours a day? Or you putting like a full 8, 10?
It's not even coming through anyway. So if all they're willing to make is franchises, of course, that's all these lists are going to be made up of anyway. So I wonder if that's...
Yeah, Travis, like between 20 and 30 hours for a main campaign, now, obviously I don't want every game to be like that, but that's the game that I would most likely play through the story, right? Which I think in Starfield, you can go through the main story in less than 20. I think you can do it in less than 15.
That's kind of like when they were saying, and I always go back to this, no one plays horror games, single-player games are dead. And it's like, yeah, they're going to be dead if you stop making them.
Yeah.
You can force that narrative in a way. And I wonder how much is that... Is the publisher sort of discourse eating its own tail with stuff like this? I don't know.
Well, the thing is, like, the fact that I mean, you can argue Starfield's success is because it's Bethesda. That's obviously part of it, but that is a new IP, and that did get to number 8 in the overall most played games of the year. It was above FIFA 23 and Apex Legends. So, like, and there was that whole conversation around Starfield about, dude, games don't sell consoles, and the Phil Spencer side of things. It's the service, it's the Game Pass, it's the ecosystem. That's what people are going for, and maybe that's true. I'll always just say games sell consoles, because they literally do.
Yeah.
Like, someone bought a PlayStation 3 to play Metal Gear Solid 5. They bought an Xbox to play Starfield. Console sales spiked when Starfield came out. How hard is this?
Yeah, but let's be honest, though. Games do sell consoles, but you have to have... Like, Call of Duty could sell you either an Xbox or a PlayStation, right? And some people just buy the console for that one game. But it's really hard. It's got to be a really good game. Like, you're not buying a console because of Palworld. You're not buying a console as much as it for Helldivers. You might get that game like a God of War, like a Halo, like a Grand Theft Auto, like a Call of Duty, right? Like, that would sell a console, whatever console that is. Okay? But not every game is like, oh, yeah, I got to play Payday 3. I'm buying that console. That's not happening.
But still, that whole thing of is it enough, though? That idea of retention. Like, you get the news headlines saying that the player base...
Same, Water. I bought Nintendo, but I justified it because I knew there's a shit ton of other games, and I had a kid. If I didn't have a son or a daughter, whatever, right? Like, I wouldn't have bought the Switch just for that game. But I justified it myself for what it is, because I was like, oh, well, I'm going to play this game, and it's got a shit ton of other games as well.
Base has dropped off. In a healthy industry, that headline wouldn't exist. I think that it exists because of clicks. I get that. I get the business reality of that, because we have the reaction to it, and you want to click in and see what's going on. But like I said, in a healthy industry, we wouldn't even care about retention. You would be expected to finish the game in a weekend, in a week, in a month.
That's
like
true.
that.
Yeah, but my point, though, El, those games are few and far between of one game selling and moving consoles like that.
That's how, at least to me, it should be, but I know that I'm born in 1989, and I think that way.
I think even then, even if the games themselves have an open-ended tale, have a big end game, are always online games, like something I love, like Call of Duty Warzone.
Call of Duty sells, hence why they bundle it with it. You know what I mean?
I still think it's a strange way to look at it, because it's like, it's not just for me. Are people still playing? Because there are a multitude of reasons.
Alternative says, stat-wise, there's more people playing Starfield on Xbox than PlayStation.
Reasons as to why they might be. You know, we talked in the Tekken 8 video about how that might just be because you bought a battle pass and you feel obliged to jump on to do your dailies, to grind that out. You want to get your money's worth. It's like, I think a better metric is, are the people who are still around enjoying themselves? Are they getting good content? Are they playing for a reason? Or are they playing because, one, that's a game that's easily accessible, and two, because they've got all of these different dopamine hooks into them, like games get into of my own brain as well that encourage them to keep coming back for more, even if the content itself isn't all that satisfying.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially with the younger audience, like it's obviously so. I mean, there was so much discourse going on as we were growing up about like how addictive video games were and whatever. But like, those potential hooks have only got more nefarious, and then now they're monetized. But yeah, something like Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft is going to skew a lot younger than a Call of Duty or a GTA. And then you have that audience that is pre-built to just to expect, well, I can get a few years out of this game. In the case of Minecraft, that's 14 years old now.
I think
Minecraft 14 years old? Jesus.
Fortnite are really interesting case studies because we look at those games as being as old as they are, and I wonder how much of their player base have aged out of it. Not saying that those games are exclusively for younger people. You know, I still jump into Fortnite from time to time. I've got a lot of friends who play Minecraft, but you know, I imagine a lot of players who jump into those games, like Minecraft or Fortnite, might be someone's first ever game.
Yeah.
You know, Fortnite especially. Fortnite's free. You get a game console, you get a phone, you can play a Fortnite. You can. That's again, it's an access thing. All of your friends at school could be playing Fortnite, but if that's your first game, it's like, why would I buy something else? This has got me almost for life. We're gonna have all of these new updates. We're gonna have this.
That's true. It's true.
Cross-media approach where why would I want to go and buy Spider-Man for $70 when I can play it?
My son's been playing Minecraft for 6 years. He's 9. He's been playing it since he was 3.
Spider-Man and Fortnite.
Yeah.
You've got Dragon Ball Z characters in there. You've got John Wick in there. Why would I ever want to leave this ecosystem, especially because everyone else is playing it and they keep giving me reasons to log back in? And that's all I've ever known as well, because it's been my first ever video game.
Yeah.
And is this not just the norm? Well, I mean, I'm supposed to keep playing this?
I don't think that'll change. I think the people who are in those bubbles or in those ecosystems aren't going to be leaving them. Like in terms of the player numbers, like I'm not suddenly going to get back into Fortnite like after that initial bubble blew up. Like
Right. As an older gamer, you'll go back and forth, but the younger group is like, this is Nintendo's mentality, man. This is Nintendo's mentality, and there's third-party companies doing that for like Fortnite and Call of Duty, Roadblock type stuff, but Nintendo has that baked in. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Pokemon, they have those IPs that are baked in for the younger generation as they get older. No matter what comes, Quintar's saying it. Zelda, Mario, a few others made me buy the Switch. This is why we buy the next Switch. Yeah, because you know those brands, and you know those brands are coming back, and there've always been good games.
It retained the people that it retained, the people who are in or loving the fact that they're in. To me, the thing that'll have to change, depending on whether, as an industry, as an art form, we even care about shorter games, story-based games, whatever, stuff that isn't live service, and multiplayer, is the publisher expectation. It'll have to be, this game doesn't need to sell hundreds of millions of copies. They set a designated sales figure, and that's okay.
Yes.
And it's okay that it's not in the top 10. But I get what Phil Spencer was talking about, how about he has shareholders to please, and he doesn't have the luxury of not thinking that way.
Yeah.
Like at a certain echelon of production, I get the Western capitalistic side as well.
Yeah.
Not in favor of it. I just want quality stuff. But I get the wider machinations of it that keep leading to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the.
You know what irritates me? Personally, the man that's talking is covering his face with his hands. Now, I understand my microphone's covering, but I'm not like this. Hey, guys. What's going on? You know what I mean? Hey, it's like, hello, you're on camera.
Takeaway point.
Move your hands.
If you have watched this long, thank you very much.
Big fan of you, to be honest.
The point is not we should only have single-player games or 8-hour games or we should have no live service games. The point is we need an industry where all of these things can exist together and we're not just chasing one model, like you said, where publishers can set expectations and be happy that they sold 20 million copies of a Harry Potter game or 10 million copies of Baldur's Gate 3 and not view those sales as missed opportunities for even more money, because you can have your live services, you can have your single player games, and surely you're making enough money.
Well, the amount of money that's doing the rounds at the minute is only between all the live service multiplayer stuff, but the likes of Sven Vinke talking about Baldur's Gate 3 and being happy about it. He's like one of the only CEOs who's actually happy about the fact they didn't break into the top 10.
Dude, bloody Assassin's Creed Valhalla made $1 billion. How can you not be happy with that, man? Come on.
That's because it cost them a shit ton of money as well. All
Josh Brown, people.
So that is what culture gaming. give that a like because he watched it. So their link is in the description down below as well. All right, this last topic I want to talk about is this is stupid. We're going to talk about it because it's stupid. Okay. Now it's subjective. Obviously, there's not a right or wrong answer, except there is a right answer. Except there is a right answer. Okay. Players poll the most iconic video game character of all time. Okay. Now, I want to go down to the bottom before we look at the top. Now, maybe some of you already know the answer to these. Okay. But at number 20 is Nathan Drake. Okay. Not really a story. It's just got Nathan Drake at 20. We got Ellie Williams at The Last of Us. Iconic characters we're talking about of the history of video games. Okay. They polled only 4,000 people. I'm a little pissed off they didn't ask me. They probably didn't ask you, right? They probably didn't ask you or you or you. They didn't ask any of us, okay? They polled somebody, and I don't know what type of people they asked, but this is just stupid, okay? You got the guy from Yakuza. You got the person from Baldur's Gate 3, okay? You got Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy 7, 15's Crash Bandicoot. You got Solid Snake at 14. You got Steve from Minecraft. I'm surprised they even know about Minecraft Steve. I'll be honest with you. You got Pikachu at 12. Okay. Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2 is at 11. Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3. Most iconic character. Okay. No shade to Shadowheart. Kratos is number 9. Master Chief is number 8. Link is number 7. Pac-Man is number 6. Sackboy. Get the F out of here. Sackboy is ahead of Pac-Man, ahead of Link, and ahead of Master Chief and Kratos. Sackboy is literally only on... whatever. Okay. Okay. Sonic the Hedgehog at number 4. Number 3 is Agent 47. What are we talking about here? Number 3 is Agent 47. Number 2 is Mario. This list is over. This list is over. Number 2 is number 1. There is no more iconic character than Mario. There is no character that's better than Mario, and they put Lara Croft. I don't know who you polled here, okay? This is absolutely insane. Lara Croft, more iconic than Mario. Sonic number 1? No, Sonic was number 4. Let me see. Let me see. Is there a theme park land after Lara Croft? I don't think there is. My wife comes in and says, Eggbird. And I'm like, you mean Q-Bird? And she's like, no, Eggbird. And I'm like, you mean Q-Bird? I'm gonna... She does mean Eggbird. I've never played this before. She's talking about... Pat, she's talking about this. It's probably a knockoff of Qbert. I never played that. Yeah, my wife says Mario. Samus from Metroid? Yeah, apparently these people didn't... I don't know who they polled. They polled 4,000 people. It says, at the BAFTA Games Awards on Thursday, the 11th, we asked... Wait a minute. So in the celebration of the 20th anniversary, okay, on the 11th, we asked public's help to settle the question, and over 4,000 players from around the world engaged in the official BAFTA poll. This is the worst. This is the worst physical list I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, no Donkey Kong. It's so bad. Lara Croft. Did they ask a bunch of horny teenage kids that saw like Lara Croft's like pixel titties? Like, I don't understand how they picked Lara Croft. It makes no sense whatsoever. Oh, what's happening here in Helldivers? Each Helldiver has been issued an extra one. So apparently in Helldivers, they beat the automatons, okay? There's no more robots, and it says Super Earth citizens celebrated full eradication of the automatons. Additionally, to reward the bravery, each Helldiver has been issued an extra 1-minute break. Noted, 1 minute inclusive of time taken to read this. Helldivers currently deployed. That's funny. There's no way they're gone. There's no way they're gone, Rose. Nice. That 1 minute break was refreshing. Yeah. Let's have a moment of silence. All right. That was good. So, but now the game only has one faction to fight. I'm pretty sure they're going to be bringing a different faction in right now. That sounds like heresy to me. Guys, they finally got some DLC into Suicide Squad. Here it is. There it is. There it is. There's your Easter after Easter. There's your Easter after Easter. Altern says, yes, content. I'm trying to see if there's any other kind of stuff going on. Oh, that looks pretty cool. That, I know this is not real, but I would totally take this, right? I know they want to make another Mad Max movie. I would 1000% see Mel Gibson back in the Mad Max role as an old man like this. 100%. 100%. I would watch that. That's the movie I would like to see. I've been playing that role of his whole life. Yeah, in real life, yeah. 100% would watch that. Here is the Acolyte characters that you're going to fall in love with. This looks like a cosplay at a convention. That's what this looks like right here. If that movie comes out, sales of the game will go up. Oh, for Mad Max? Yeah, sure. 70s Star Trek? This doesn't look good. It's nothing against the people themselves. Right? It's not against the people themselves. This just looks like if this was a cosplay. So I went to a convention this weekend, and these are the people I met. I would have been like, oh, those are pretty cool. But this is the Acolyte. Like, these are people from the Acolyte show. You hope that's before makeup? Nope, that's it. Oh boy. What is this? Good. I just read what you said, Dave. Looks like when they make porn versions of actual movies. Oh, man. It's funny because it's true. So sad. Z says, we pulled 4,000 cosplayers. Verdict, 100% shit. My question, or not my question, my statement to anybody that says, well, it's not a big deal. Anyone that says it's not a big deal for what they're doing to Star Wars, I'm sorry, I mean this in the nicest way. You don't matter. Just like I don't matter, right? But when I mean that is, you're not a fan of what I was a fan of. And you're okay because you don't know the lore, you don't know the stuff. So you're like, well, it doesn't matter. Well, if it doesn't matter, then why did they change it? If it didn't matter, then why did they change it? Why did they change it? Because it does matter. And that is the problem I have. Because if you're a fan of it, right, then you wouldn't want it to change. And if you're not a fan of it, but you're entertained by it, then it doesn't matter to you because you would take whatever they put in front of you. Helldivers 2 community successfully wipes out the robots. Okay. Helldivers community just cleared out the automaton region. So they're saying different factions coming in. The Illuminates, whatever. They've already renewed season 2 of Fallout. When they say that, though, that is just to promote the season 1, because they go, oh, season 2, that means season 1 must be that is a tactic that they do in television. That is a tactic they do in television just to promote season 1. Doesn't mean, and again, I'm not shitting on Fallout because I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to watch it. But to say season 2 is coming, lots can change if it bombs, right? But that is a 100% tactic to make it sound more exciting than it is. We're doing a group watch? No, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. That's exactly right, Rose. That's exactly how they do it. It's the same method as, go watch this movie. It's the number 1 at the box office this weekend. We don't know what the sales numbers are. It's just number 1, meaning nothing else came out. These people watched this movie. It's number 1. And people are like, oh, well, it's number 1. That must be good. But, Mike, that would be dishonest. Uh-huh. Yep, that's correct. What did you give me, Travis? From the games community of Reddit, I look at new poster. I don't go to Reddit. I'm not even gonna open that and read it because Reddit's not news. I mean, hell, news is not news. I'm definitely not going to Reddit for news. Okay, so here's a perfect example of nostalgia baiting you for shows, right? This is 100% a nostalgia bait because remember, I talked about this on Friday night when we talked about entertainment news right here on 30NSG. I do an extra stream on Friday nights talking about entertainment news and movies and shows and whatnot. Went down a rabbit hole of Mandela effect, nerding with 30. It's just nerding with me on a bunch of stuff. Okay, I haven't. If you missed that episode, it's not up yet. I haven't posted it yet. It'll be up later today. Okay. Remember this because I remember, and I'm going to remind you because a lot of people don't remember. I want to remind you that Kevin Feige didn't want anything to do with the shows, the characters, or the cast from any of the shows from Netflix of Daredevil, of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. They had, or Punisher. They wanted nothing to do with those things. They said it would never happen. Okay, it would never happen. And then something happened. Okay? Then something happened where not only did they bring back the people from these things, okay, but they brought Kingpin back in the Hawkeye show. They brought back, okay, what's his name? Charlie Cox into Spider-Man, and they brought him back into She-Hulk, and now they were doing Daredevil again, Born Again. They've changed all these things. They weren't going to have the Punisher back, but now they have the Punisher back. So they weren't going to have Foggy and Karen Page come back because this wasn't what you saw on Netflix. But then the multiverse happened, and then they brought them back. Okay, and then they were going to be different, but then they changed it. They filmed 12 episodes of Daredevil, and then they erased them to refilm them, bring the Punisher back, and then brought all the other people back, okay? Because they know that you like Daredevil from Netflix and not the Daredevil they were creating. So now they're going to make it think. This is exactly the same thing of season 2. Okay, we're making a season 2. We're bringing back, we've listened to you. We hear what you're saying. We know you love Charlie Cox. We know that you love Kingpin and Punisher and and we know you love Foggy. Okay, we're bringing them all back. Come on by. Come on back and watch the show on Disney Plus because it's going to be nothing like the show that you watched on Netflix. That's how they get you back. This is the Luke Skywalker. This is the Han Solo. This is the Princess Leia, but now of the Daredevil series. It'd be a shame. Could be another one. You never know, Mike. Could be good. Could win the contest. It could be good. The likelihood of that happening, slim to none. How can people still get excited for anything Marvel? That's because I'm dangling the keys in front of you. We have Daredevil. We have the Punisher. We're bringing back all the characters that you like. It's fucking. I've had this 8-ball keychain since I was 16, 17 years old when I first started driving. This is just a. I had dice on my. I had real dice on my mirrors, and I had this 8-ball. I don't know why I got it. I think I got it from a vending machine when I first started driving, and it's been on my keychain. And this is like, it's a shitty 8-ball, right? But for me, it's got like super memories of like my entire driving career with this, and how many cars I've had, and people I've hung out with, and trips I've gone on. That's exactly what Deadpool 3 is going to be. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Deadpool 3. We got Wolverine. Oh, we're bringing back a bunch of Wolverines. We got Cavill. We got a whole bunch of different people. I've watched 3 episodes, Rose. I've watched 3 episodes of X-Men 97. I'm enjoying it as of right now. Yeah. 3 episodes in. The breaker now is the latest episodes, right? Because I always tell you, if you're watching a series, 3 episodes. If you're enjoying 3, the 4th one's the make or break type of thing. And then if you watch 3, usually it's good for the remainder, right? So I think it'll continue to be good. So I enjoyed the first 3 episodes. We'll see if I enjoy the 4th one. I like it. It's good. Batting at the screen like a cat, yeah. The only one I liked was the Punisher with Jonathan. Yeah, well, he's coming back. He's coming back, Rowick. They got you. Jonathan's coming back as the Punisher. You like that, so you'll like this. I'll remind you, he wasn't originally in this new series of Daredevil. He wasn't going to be in the series, but now he is. We're, I think, years off for the 40K. I don't think we get it before 2026, Travis. Because he literally got it at the end, like the rights to it or whatever, at the end of last year. So, even if he films it, I don't think he films this year. If he does, it's, yeah, I would say 2020, late 2025, 2026. Don't quote me on that, but... So did you guys? Okay, this will be the last thing, and then I gotta go. But have you guys? I haven't been really watching. I watched an Endymion video yesterday. I was listening to it in the background, and I don't know. Again, I have to do more research, right? Not that I really care about it, but I thought it was funny, right? So about the whole community manager thing that's going on, about people being racist and sexist and misogynistic, and they're saying that we are, but. Did you hear that all community managers have their own Discord? And then they're coming together to police or whatever as a community to stop who should be playing games or not? Have you seen this? I haven't done much research, so I'm literally just I literally saw it this morning and I was like, "What?" I thought that was interesting. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if it's true. Like I said, I got to do some more research, but I was just like, how does a community manager have this much power? If it is true. Because a community manager is basically a connection point between consumers and the devs. So how does a community manager have more power than that? Because all they're supposed to do is be the bridge between the community and the devs. That's all they should be. Right? If someone complains about, hey, this gun's broke and needs to get fixed, the community manager's like, all right, I'll pass that along. But now community managers are putting their own 2 cents into their political views or taking someone that does say something stupid and then uses their superpower cape to try to stop that from happening. Where if they just ignored that and just stuck with the actual community management things, then that would be it, right? Like, if a troll comes into the stream, I don't read it. Right? I community manage my own thing. I moderate my own thing. I don't bat an eye. I don't look at it. Right? I just kind of just leave it alone. And if someone says, "Hey, you should do this," I'll be like, "That's a good idea. Thanks for that. Appreciate that." Like, you should just be a community manager. Not a police officer. Not a gatekeeper. Sure you do, 30. Read my comments now and then. That's correct. Because you're not a troll. If you are a troll, Travis, I could treat you like one. When does the new episodes come out for X-Men? Does it come out on Thursdays or Fridays? I don't know when the new episodes come out. The person you mean is a safety patrol. Yeah, basically. Do you want to be a troll? That's fine, House. Are you ready? Because I will never read anything you say again. That's how I treat trolls. All right, so tomorrow we're going to be watching, what time does it happen? The Ubisoft thing. It happens at 11, right? I think at 11 o'clock in the morning. Is it 11 or 10? Or is it 12? I don't even know. When does the Ubisoft thing happen tomorrow? April 9th, 9 a.m., 10, 11, 12. So it happens at 12. All right, so tomorrow at 12, we're going to be covering the Star Wars Outlaws story trailer world premiere. Didn't it already leak, though? I could have sworn it already leaked. So we'll watch that tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit afterwards. Maybe we get a date. Make sure in just about 10 minutes or so, there's going to be a short that goes online. And then at 1 o'clock, the video that links to that short will be up and running, which is the 30 frames per second for Hellblade. I was going to say Helldivers, for Hellblade. Wait. They're calling Outlaws the first open world Star Wars game? Yeah, but no, Jedi Survivor wasn't open world. It was still very, like narrow, right? You know what I mean? Linear. It's open. It's open like Gears of War was open. Do you know what I mean? This is truly like an Assassin's Creed type of game, open world. But Bungie's Final Shape premieres same time. Oh wow, well that's gonna be a hard decision for me. That's gonna be a hard decision for me. Yeah, Rose. It was more of a couple of hubs that were open, right? But everything was really more linear. Even when you look at the map, you know, you're going back and forth between a hallway of stuff. Yeah, very hard decision. All right, I'm done for the day. I appreciate you. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. We were going to play Helldivers tonight, but I think I'm going to move that to Wednesday, just in case something happens today or tomorrow inside the game before Thursday's new Warbond. We're going to be joined by Kinger. I'm going to let him know we're going to do Wednesday. So we're going to play Wednesday night, and then whoever wants to come out Wednesday night, if there's more people that want to play, we can do like a mission, drop out, drop in. But me and Kinger are going to be talking on stream. So... I don't know if he's going to be streaming. He might be streaming. But we're going to be playing together of Helldivers on Wednesday night. Since we did our division thing last week, and we have 3 weeks to wait. I think tonight, I might jump back into some Star Wars Battlefront 2 PvE. Because I just have fun playing that game. I've been playing it throughout the weekend as well. So I think we're going to play more of that tonight. So if you guys like that and just come out and bullshit while we're playing some Star Wars, come on back out tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern right here on 30 NSG. We'll be back tomorrow for more news stories and whatnot. We also have an upload coming out in just about 30 minutes, 20 minutes or so. Appreciate it very much. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for coming out. Peace.